Happy Wednesday, everybody. We are back. And today we're talking about BB27. Yes, we finally got the Morgan Pope deep dive from Taryn on Rob Has a Podcast. And Vince is back again. And Vince's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, Kelsey, has spoken. So we have a lot to talk about. So grab a beverage. Hopefully you're wearing something very comfy. Smash that like on your way in, and let's get started.
If you like what you see, come and get it with me. I know you deserve all you want, 'cause your heart's made of gold, but don't wait till you're old. If you want it, I get you some.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Stand-up comedian and pop culture vulture, Big Brother, sometimes super fan Joleen Lunzer here for another No Offense, All Offense, where we roast, react to our favorite reality shows, trending news, just anything that piques our dopamine interest. So today we're going to be still revisiting Big Brother 27, despite us almost being what now? Almost 2 months? Are we 2 months out from the finale? We still have things to talk about. So just a few things before we get started. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Let's set a like goal for 1,000 likes. Can we get 1,000 likes on a postseason BB27 live? Can we do it? Also, hit that subscribe. We are on our way to 50K. And if you want to support the channel further, you know the drill. You can send a super chat while we're live here on YouTube. It's a great way for me to see your comment. You can also send a super chat after the video post. Thank you to those of you who have done that. Or you can hit me up on the Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, or consider joining my membership here on Patreon. Links are in the description. All right. B. Nichols says, oh my God, 7 hours of Morgan is diabolical. It's diabolical, you guys. It really is. Now, remember, everything I say today is true, except for the parts that are false. Everything is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. So don't sue me.
You better not.
All right. And also, know that this is, you know, if you have a different opinion, you can sound off in the live chat. These are just my opinions. And we're going to be joking around, making fun of stuff, and being super opinionated. But you can just sound off in the live chat or the comment section, and we can just respectfully agree to disagree.
Who is she? Who is she? Who is she? Where did you find her?
Where did you find her? Okay. So let's get into, first things first, I should say. Let's get a little into Kelsey. About a week or so ago, Vince's ex-girlfriend now, I think. Who knows? You know, I think they're exes, according to Vince in the video he put out 2 weeks ago or so. He says that they were exes. So Kelsey, the girlfriend, his 7-year girlfriend, has opened up her Instagram. And she put out a little video about why she opened her Instagram and how she's feeling. So let's just take a listen as Kelsey tells us why she's here.
I want to say first, this feels a little bizarre. I've really never filmed myself recording anything, let alone speaking about my kind of thoughts and feelings. I'm not diving too deep. I'm keeping my floaties on. But just my little disclaimer, this is super unnatural for me. And I am ironically wearing a red plaid shirt. It doesn't mean anything. It's my shirt. I own it. It's mine. Before anyone starts saying that it's Vin's. But I really just kind of wanted to address the question of why did I open my Instagram after having it kind of locked down and truly like disappearing mid-season. So to start, my Instagram has been private for over 10 years. I'm pretty sure I am a very private person. It's just how I am. In all honesty, I did not think anyone would care that Vinny had a girlfriend. I I guess we were both naive in that experience. It seemed like it really kind of took over. And as somebody who is not on the internet that much, it is not a influencer type personality, it really was quite overwhelming, to put it lightly. It was actually just extremely overwhelming. And so I started to feel more like myself this week, and I had a little bit of an epiphany. And I was thinking about how so many rumors and people speaking for me and things were just popping up kind of out of control during that time. And it really didn't matter to me. I know who I am. I am a very secure person, as Vinny described me in an interview. That doesn't really quite shake me. However, my little epiphany was more about kind of claiming my voice and actually kind of taking back my power after it felt like it was abruptly taken from me. Again, having people speak for me, having people claim they know what's going on in my relationship, having it just be this like dog pile experience, it was a really unique one. So that's a very long story short, essentially. It's November. The show's been over for a hot minute. And just for the record, this is so crazy to me. I don't know if this is normal or not. Again, I'm not even like a TV person, but the 2 days so far that I've had my profile open, I've had over 1 million profile views. So I'm just like, what the fuck? So if that gives you any perspective, how insane my life and notifications became, it just took over. It took over. So point of this is just to kind of say like, hey, like I am here. I'm feeling more like myself. I want to claim my voice. I want to, I don't really give a shit. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going with the flow at this point, and I don't want anyone to receive hate just because I'm here and my face is popping up. So please be kind. It's November. The holidays are coming. That's all I've got to say. And if you stick around and you watch my boring life, that's fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. Bye.
Okay. So that is Kelsey, everybody. So far, that's pretty much all she said. This young, beautiful woman who was dating Vince, aka Vinny, aka I don't have any votes now.
I don't have any phones now.
When he went into the Big Brother house, she's opened up her Instagram. And as of today, let me just look it up real quick. Luck Hills. Okay. She's got like almost 17,000 followers. All right. So, you know what, Kelsey, we wish you the best. We don't really, it seems like she's just a normal person. She's just like a healthy person who's just like, It surprises me that she didn't think people would care that Vince had a girlfriend and he was behaving that way, but people care. People feel some type of way when they see that stuff. People are like, okay, that's how you move? Disrespectful. All right. So that surprises me that she didn't think anyone would care. But yeah. Amy says she waited too long. Yeah. And Molly says she's not, she's not the one trying to get on the show. So we wish the best for Kelsey. We want you to have a great life, Kelsey. We want you to find love, outside the club, and just stay away from Vince's. Okay. And it's, enjoy yourself. Like we say over here, it's later than you think. All right. So, oh boy. All right. Vince also, speaking of Vince, before we get into the Morganness, that's my Lauren Matthias is popping up. If you guys are looking for something else, now that Big Brother's over, we've been covering a very interesting hidden true crime and their drama and lies, allegedly, about their situation. So I have videos for that, and I'll probably be going live later on this evening, hopefully after this, to talk more about that. But first, let's go to Vince Panaro, who is is this his channel here? Yes, it is. So after he put out his awkward 10-minute post Big Brother 27 thoughts with Vince Panera Bread, he then had Turner from BB24 assist him in an unboxing video. And now unboxing videos are notoriously boring. All right, just nobody cares. I mean, maybe somebody cares. I just don't know those people. All right, but everyone does when they're like, you want to have a Big Brother? And we're like, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. But Vince did an edited one
cool,
that Turner helped with. So let's just peep in on it for a minute. Let me share the link so you can go over and support him on his channel if you're a Vince fan. Here you go. Here's the link for that video and his channel.
Cool costume here. Dig into this thing and see what we got here. I don't know if I'm going to be...
Okay. I don't know if he's putting music under this. So he dressed up in his egg costume, guys. What's punishment costume? To open up his box. Let's just kind of skip around. Because I'm honestly at that point where I'm over it. Okay.
Eviction probably still would have played out the same, but I wouldn't have put someone who I considered untouchable on the block. Even eviction. For everyone yelling at me to crazy. Oh, this brings back so many memories trying to do things with this
I sped it up, by the way. So he didn't snort any addies. I just sped it up.
freaking punishment. All right, I'm going to take this off. And for everyone yelling at me to stop straightening my hair, here, this is what you get. However, now I'm going to get yelled at for wearing a beanie. We got
Honestly, stop straightening your hair. Your curls are great. What are you doing?
a lot. We got a lot of stuff in here. Hawaiian shirt from the White Locust. Thing's pretty sweet, actually. My OTEV tank top. This is actually Lauren's OTEV winning tank top. She didn't want it.
Don't let Morgan see this video. She didn't want her OTEV. Why did you want it? That's kind of creepy.
No.
Okay.
For some reason, so I asked her if I could have it, and she's the sweetest person on the planet, so she was like, yeah, of course. One of, if not my biggest regret in the entire season, is putting Lauren on the block.
Oh boy. Oh boy, Morgan. Don't show Morgan this. She'd be like, ree.
I wish I never did that. I mean, the outcome, the second half of the double eviction probably still would have played out the same, but I wouldn't have put someone who I considered untouchable on the block, even if I thought they were guaranteed safe.
Maybe you should have considered Morgan untouchable. You know, you see what I did there? See?
Boom. Roasted.
Okay, that was not that great.
Because that was the only reason I did it. I thought I had guaranteed her safety, so I appeased both sides, but I didn't stop with the people pleasing. So that's what clearly got me in a lot of trouble.
You're not people pleasing. You're just manipulating. You're just manipulative with your emotions. We watched it go down, but okay, whatever.
So definitely regret that. I wish I could take that one back, but
You just play the crybaby to get away with stuff like, oh, goodness gracious. I just got to get stronger. I'll learn from you while you stab people in the back.
it is what it is. I assume this is the cast photo that everybody signed. I got a couple
He does not care for the cat. He's like, here, going in the garbage.
rats from OTEV. OTEV, oh man. And I jump in that first left pool, which was like the orange goo, and I search all in rat, laying in the orange. Shout out to Rachel for putting me on the block that week and ensuring that I get to compete in that, because
Woo! Shout out to Rachel. We always love when Rachel puts these dudes on the block. Yeah, shout out to Rachel. Yeah, woo.
that was a lot of fun. We got the flippy floppies from the White Locust. I got my Air Force Ones. They gave some brand new Air Force Ones.
Those look like dad shoes. Those look like literal shoes my dad wears from the Skechers shop.
From part 1 HOH, but the damn spinning. I could not do the spinning. My hands and feet went numb. After we were horizontal spinning, and it was down to Morgan and I, and then it came back up, I couldn't focus. My eyes were blurry, my hands and feet were numb, my knees were getting weak. I was going to either pass out and, I don't know, collapse, whatever. We got
Whatever.
nice dress pants from part 2 HOH.
We can go to job interviews with what?
Huh?
Okay.
Dress shirt from part 2 HOH. This bow tie. I actually think this is Keanu's. I thought it was mine from the Night to Remember, but mine actually has the white trim around it. One of the last loads of laundry I did, I don't know why I did this, my head was clearly all over the place. I watched the part 1 HOH outfit with my white dress shirt. I don't know why I would do that. And this is what it turned into.
Because you're a mama's boy. Oh yeah, cause mommy does your laundry. Allegedly.
So this is what it should look like or used to look like, and this is
And maybe daddy too. Don't be sexist, Jolene.
what I turned it into. This is the part 2 HOH Blazer, which is nice. Unfortunately, they didn't cut off.
Oh God. I wish he would talk about how he screamed and was like, I don't have any votes now. And he just lost his shit.
I don't have any votes now.
during that. How Frankie Grande was like, it's okay, girl. To Ashley, it's okay.
A hole in the back for the zip line harness. Some hats. This one was terrible.
No.
Worst veto of the season because it had to do with smells.
Oh, and that's the one where you had another hissy fit where you threw down stuff because Ashley won and you put her on the block after telling her you weren't going to put her on the block. And then you had a whole hissy.
Smells and spinning. Can't do it. This one was Night to Remember when you get a strike. This one was my favorite one. This was from Elusive Target, I believe. Sweet. That was one of my favorite outfits was.
Nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares.
This is good. Oh, here's our jumpsuit with our name on it from the Black Box Challenge. The one, the pitch black, dark. Gosh, that one I did.
The longest 10 minutes of my life.
Our competition shoes. We got the Charcuterie Protection Agency. That was tough.
That was a good one because Angela, Queen Angela, BB Queen Angela showed up to host that one.
I am a mother to a fault.
I mean, mother to a fault. The mother to the fault showed up.
The stacking ones, those are tough. By the way, I always hoped that I would get like my favorite color, but it's randomly picked. So
They give you the color, the pea color. They're like, give Vince the pissy color.
here we go. Here's part 1 HOH. This is the culprit from dyeing my dress shirt. If you want to wash a white dress shirt or a white shirt in general, don't wash it with colors or it'll turn into this.
Yeah, dude, you're like 35 years old. I think everybody knows that or should know that by your age.
It's pretty heavy duty too, by the way. Oh, this blazer. Oh my gosh. This
It's like every punchline on shitty sitcoms. Like, oh, I got a red shirt in with the whites.
blazer.
Now everything's pink.
I literally don't have to go wedding shopping. This is so nice. This is such high quality. BB Comics shirt with the cape. I wish I went harder on BB Comics. There's a lot of veto competition. It kind of works if it's pink. It's no big deal, right? These were cool. I loved hosting. That was one of my favorite.
Okay, yeah, we know.
Let's go snag one. All right, next we got my BB Comics than I expected. When we went out there, things here, but they got the mustache right. Then for Big Brother 27, you could get the fake one too. Because this one, my difference was a foot and a lint magnet. They were just throwing all over you. But this was the heaviest.
They gave him a blanket. Oh, they gave him the blanket. When him and Morgan had the pillow barrier, they would cover up with those blankets. They gave him the hide a boner blanket. Big Brother knows what they're doing.
The warmest.
They're like, we don't want this. It's been touched by your boner.
Never left lint on you. Still kind of smells like the house. Oh, man. All right. Oh, this is the voting key. Oh. My one vote to win.
Big Brother, what are you doing to him? You know he was trying to squat in that house. He's just going to go back there and start squatting back in the Big Brother house. He's breaking in right now. He's like, let me in.
Shout out to Morgan, who's always so good to me in that house.
I'm sorry, what'd you say? I'm sorry? What was that? What was that? What was that? Let me slow that down. Shout out to Morgan, who's always so good to me in that house. Okay. Then why aren't you talking to her allegedly?
Oh. My one vote to win. Shout out to Morgan, who's always so good to me in that house.
Okay. Okay.
Except when I find out that she was going to cut me at Final 3, which, that's all fair. That's
Are you sure about that? You sure about that? You sure I'm not gonna cry and have a hissy about that too?
all good. And I would have voted for her to win, too, for the record. Even if she cut me at Final 3, I would have voted for her to win, and appreciate her giving me at least one vote. Pretty cool. So we got the Welcome to Big Brother tag, the name tag, and the official key with your name
Now, Vince, that doesn't open the door to the Big Brother house. You have to stay out. Okay, you've been evicted.
on it. Always the most exciting thing. It's the first thing you see when you're filming your intro package. That's all of the stuff. I mean, aside from all these shoes, punishment slippers, but I mean, it does kind of feel like it was just like maybe a week or two ago. That's always Big Brother's something I'm always going to be proud of? Did I act exactly how I wanted to the entire time? No.
You save big money, you save big money when you shop Menards.
Oh God.
Am I remembered exactly how I want to? Maybe not.
Now don't go going online making a I've been bullied video. Okay? Like some of your counterparts, just because you didn't come off the way you wanted to.
I
Just go with own it.
cared so damn much. I just wanted to do so well, and everything I felt was so heightened. Now I have a season under my belt, so we'll see what the future holds, but
These people are like, they're calling us back. Him and Morgan talk like they've already been in talks to go on another season. Put it in the chat. Would you guys like to see Morgan or Vince back for another season? Where we will get no sleep because they'll be fighting in the HOH room.
it's good times. I'm always gonna be happy for my time in Big Brother house. And I never got evicted. There's a pride point right there. That's a bragging point. Never got evicted. Anyway,
Well, technically you did. When they ask you, please leave the house, you did not win. You have to leave.
thanks for watching. I had been wanting to open this thing up and dig
You guys are all saying no in the chat.
through it and relive some of these memories. I'll start posting more on social media. I think I want to start posting more on Instagram. I just made a Twitter. People are yelling at me to make a Twitter. I don't know if I'm going to post on it often.
They love him over on Twitter.
I think I might be the only one not on Cameo, so I'm going to make a Cameo.
Are you going to dress up like Jimmy?
I'll probably link it in the video in case anybody wants any videos. I don't know. I'm still not the most active posting type of person, so be patient with me if you want to see more of what I'm up to, but I'll try to be more active on stuff. I just had to take some time. I appreciate everybody who has said kind things. On my first YouTube video, they were, I guess, 80%, 85% positive, and I do read through them.
Dang, you doing the percentages on that? That's weird.
So thank you so much for the positive comments. That's actually really nice to see those. The bad are usually louder
Maybe you could work in statistics. You could be a statistician or some kind of accounting.
than the good, but there's a lot of good ones out there too, so I appreciate you all who send good vibes for me. Cool. That's everything.
All right, Turner editing his video. Again, Vince doesn't have to work, even on his own YouTube channel. He gets other people to do the work for him. So congratulations to Vince. All right, let's dive into this. Now, I've listened to part of Morgan's deep dive on RHAP. All right, I am going to post the link for this. Obviously, we're not going to get through the whole thing. It's 7 hours. The woman talked about this show for 7 hours. Now we'll see as far as we can get. We'll go over some stuff. If you guys like it, we'll come back and do some more. If you're like, no, I heard all I need to, then we'll stop there. I will let you guys decide. But in the chat is the link for RHAP. Go show them the love. Obviously, if you're not subscribed, get subscribed, do all those things. And let's dive into this. I think I'm going to skip to about 25 minutes in. So this has been kind of a long awaited thing, but I think a lot of us also got to the point where we were like, we don't care if this ever happens, because Morgan was being, just so back and forth on this. Should I do this deep dive? And so far, Rachel's done the deep dive, Keanu's done the deep dive, Ashley's done the deep dive. And it's just something that they do over there, that Taryn does with the house guests after the season. And it can be really interesting and insightful to house guests, because Taryn covers, the live feeds, and he's got notes on every day, and he does his daily live feed updates. So it's something that, can be illuminating to them. Now, Morgan previously did something that we thought was a deep dive, because that's how it was marketed to us at first with Sharon Tharp, but it ended up not being a deep dive. And Morgan admitted that Sharon promised her a safe space. She said, listen, come over here and we will protect you from any kind of jokes or criticism or questions that you don't want to answer.
What's the matter with you people? You're sad that people are mean? Well, I'm sorry. The world isn't one big liberal arts college campus. We eat too much. We take our spoiled lives for granted. Feel a little bad about it sometimes. No, You want to put all your shit up on the internet and have every single person say, hooray for you. F you. You're all pricks.
Okay. So now it, unlike the other deep dives, this one was live. And I think she said it might have been simultaneously broadcast to her Twitch. So she ultimately worked out a deal with Taryn where they would do it live. She had like snacks. And yeah, as far as I got, it did seem, just from my opinion, that it was he was very soft with her. Very soft with her. Like very soft. So we'll see. We'll see. Because a lot of us, Morgan has yet to watch the season. And a lot of us are like, maybe watch something. And there are certain things that she thinks about the game and the players and how things went down that didn't necessarily go down that way. And so, yeah, that's where we're at. But he was very, 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 very soft with her. Thank you, Kelly Cal, for the super chat. You are staying booked and busy and employed. 7 hours, Kelly Cal. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Becca, for the super chat with a smash the like. Okay. And so there wasn't a ton of pushback. And I will say, it is, let's just watch. And then you guys let me know if you feel kind of the same way. There's not a ton of pushback, Taryn is very kind. But he's also very opinionated. And I would have liked to see in what I saw just a little bit more pushback, but it's his decision. It's his channel.
Absolutely.
And so we're just starting over here around the 26-minute mark. We'll kind of jump around too, as it took them, I think, an hour plus to get through the first week.
So you're in this good position, and I wanted to tell you like my experience when the feeds come on. It's the night of day 6, and Vince is thinking about, and we'll talk about the nominations a bit more, but like Vince is thinking about who the replacement nominee should be, and Keanu and Kelly are pitching him Jimmy. It's got to be Jimmy. It's got to be Jimmy. And Kelly's like, I don't want to go up anymore. And meanwhile, Jimmy is like, it's got to be Keanu. And you are like not really on the same page as Jimmy at all. And Jimmy's up in the HOH room and he's got his like sunglasses on. And he's just kind of like acting like he's the king of the house. And you are not backing down. And immediately, and there were people, because I did a 24-hour stream for the first day of feeds.
Wow.
There were people in my chat who were like, oh, is this bad for Morgan to be doing this? Like, because she's picking a fight with Jimmy. And my response was like, no, I actually really love this.
I will say, Danny says Taryn had no problem commenting on the cheat mans until he was talking to Morgan. I'm going to I think that that was part of the agreement probably, is that he not bring it up. I don't think that, oh, what are you doing, buddy? What do you got there, little guy? What do you got there? Oh, that's Mama's socks. Okay, thank you. Sorry, Dave Dog has my socks. But I don't think Morgan would do any deep diver interview where she was forced to talk about the cheat mans in that situation. So I think that was probably out of, like, I don't even think Taryn could ask about that. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and say that I think that's how it went. But again, that's just, I don't know for sure. But otherwise, like, that's what people would want to know and want to ask about. So,
because,
and with, Vince not talking about it, I'm sure Morgan's like, well, I'm not talking about it. And so then no one's going to talk about it.
She seems to be in a good position.
He is the best.
And she's not just letting that sort of like quell her. She's not letting a thing go just because she's afraid to like raise a fuss or anything like that. She's actively making sure that if you're in a good position, it should mean that you have influence, that you are able to get the things you want done. If you're not able to do that, if you feel like you're in a good position, but your opinions get sidelined by somebody else who's getting what they want to have happen, then is it really a good position? And immediately.
Well, Molly, that's an interesting question. Molly says, are all these interviewers all scared of Morgan? Seems like it. She needs to be humbled at least once. I think when it comes to the Big Brother players, a lot of these channels and a lot of these, like even like Sharon and stuff, they need, they have to be able to access these players. Interviews thing. It's part of their channel. It's part of what people like is that, these players will go on their channel and talk about seasons and, they do the interviews, they do the post-season interviews. So I think a lot of them probably work with them in this way or make these agreements because they need that access to keep going. Where a channel like mine, I never wanted my channel to be based on someone else. So then I had to like pander to anybody else, or I have to worry about anybody else, where it was just, you can come and see me and I'm going to say things and have opinions. And occasionally we'll have guests, but really I can't not say my opinion in a lot of regards. But for a channel like RHAP, they're very different, where they don't want to burn. I imagine they don't want to burn bridges with the house guests and things, because they do a lot of future content with them, and they do the post eviction interviews. So I think that it's not necessarily fear, but it's not good for their brand. It's not good for, their business to push. I mean, I would argue like it's okay to burn a couple bridges, you know what I mean? Just to get some like real good journalism, but they're not claiming to be journalists. Now with Sharon Tharp, she is claiming to be a journalist. So what I want from my journalists is I want pushback. Like I want you to ask questions and ask good questions, and not just allow the interviewee to take over and run the show. So if that makes any sense at all. But I've been around people in LA long enough to know that a lot of these people have very large egos, okay? And I cannot sit here every day and have my channel depend on whether or not they're willing to talk to me, and if I'm willing to kind of play the game. We all play the game in some sense. You know what I'm saying, though? So I think that, with RHAP, that's kind of what they do. They don't want to burn, bridges. Taryn isn't a rude person at all. Is he very opinionated? Yeah. Would have been nice to see some pushback and find out about this stuff. Yeah. But we don't really have any journalists in this capacity that do that. I don't really think. So I don't know. Just my 2 cents for what it's worth.
Immediately, I was able to recognize in you that like this is an active player who is not just going to sit back and let things happen. You are going to make sure that if you can't get Zay out this week, if you can't get Zay up on the bar, like Zay out this week because your alliance doesn't agree with it, then maybe that's not the alliance for you. Right. And you need to learn that quickly before you can still do something about it. And so this is, I think, another part of why ultimately the heavy hitters didn't work, was because if it wasn't going to work for you, it wasn't going to work at all. And for Jimmy, that was a problem because Jimmy wanted to be that person.
Taryn? Okay, sorry, it cut out. You froze.
It scared me for a minute because she's like, I was like, oh, did he piss her off? Did he piss her off this early?
For a second, repeat that last thing you said for Jimmy, and then it froze for a second.
Yes, for Jimmy, for basically you and Jimmy, I think had different visions for the alliance. And I think because of that, it was never going to fully function. And then
Samantha, interesting. Really? They burned a bridge with Tyler. Wow. I don't remember any of that, but yeah. I think that's they really are a community with these players.
On the other side of things, of course, you had Rachel and Vince who had very different visions as well. But yeah, it's I want you to speak on this, like, because that is not something that I see very often. Somebody who is willing to stand their ground, especially so early, especially when you could have felt very comfortable.
Yeah. So I think where I was at was like, obviously the heavy hitters was forming, but I felt Jimmy was almost coming on a little too strong about being super adamant about something happening week 1, where I'm like, I don't think that Keanu was as big of a target as Jimmy was trying to make him out to be. And I'm like, if we allow this, we're going to create even more enemies than we need to. Obviously, I didn't exactly know at that time.
Okay. Thank you, Shine. Yes. Karen doing Sky Daddy's work. And DB said, money be green, money be green. That's what people would always ask me. Joleen, why don't you do the postseason interviews? I have the contact information for them. I would give the contact information to other channels so that they could go do them. I was like, you guys go do it. Because I knew any of the questions that I really wanted to ask and that I wanted answered, they wouldn't be able to do. Because they have little handlers with them. And so when they leave the house, you have to get all those questions approved by CBS and Big Brother. And so for me, that's like a waste of time, just for me, because I can't really ask them the questions I want to know. Maybe a couple things, but for the most part, it's just like, I don't want someone dictating what I can ask them and what I can't. You know, I mean, I know there's that with every interview, you have a little bit of that. But from what I knew of my friends who did did, you know, interviews of evicted house guests and things, it just seemed like they were very, it was very edited. It was very, they didn't, you know, they'd throw questions out and they wouldn't approve that question. So it just seemed kind of like, yeah, whatever, you know, I just want to roast them up. I don't need to be besties with everybody. And I don't want to just not be able to ask questions that my audience is actually interested in. And I can't glaze a lot of these, like, it's people I can, you know, it's like, oh.
Who Keanu was aligned with. But when Jimmy was very, very, very adamant, there was also a time where Rachel and I were wanting to work with Keanu as well. So I was like, I don't want Keanu up on the block because Keanu could be somebody very great to work with. So if Jimmy does get his way and gets Keanu up on the block, then I'm starting that was just not going to work for me. Like, I'm like, this is not going to happen. Like, just frankly, what it wasn't going to happen. And I also feel like in a lot of the conversations that I had with Jimmy, I wanted someone who was going to be more open-minded to whether things happened or didn't happen. And he was just very, nope, it has to be Keanu. It has to be Keanu. And that's when I was kind of like, okay, I don't know if this is going to be somebody that I'll be able to work with very well because it's just, this is what I want or not, which essentially was similar to me. However, I was kind of looking at it as a team aspect of like, is this really going to be beneficial for the heavy hitters? No, but you're very adamant about it, which tells me you're kind of being more of a selfish player. And I think early on in seasons, that's where people can struggle with creating like valuable friendships or relationships in the house, is if they're too selfish about their own, because then people are going to look at them like, oh, you don't seem like a team player. So.
Yeah, I think
I did feel bad. Taryn, there was a lot of time where Taryn just had to go,
there is a balance because I think if you play, I guess there are often people who
I feel for Taryn. I do, because it was just, I got to the point where I don't even think it shouldn't even have happened. It took too long. Everyone was so worried about what I don't know. Morgan had went on her Twitch many times like, I don't know, guys. I just don't know. I don't know. I want to protect my peace, which is fine. It's fair. You can do that. But then, like, don't do the deep dive. And now we're here, and it's like
playing for themselves and framing it as like, this is what's best for the team, right? And so I think it can be very easy to kind of be like, all right, well, I don't want to push too hard for what I want because they're making a good argument for the team. But the reality is they're just, you know, pulling for what they want. And you slowly find yourself walking into essentially like a trap that the person has set. And what you seem to do here was, you know, you reach this almost kind of a dead end with Jimmy. He was just always going to be pushing for Keanu. Zach and Vince Zach was kind of like, could go one way. He changed his mind in the middle of a conversation. And Vince was like very torn, seemingly. And so you were able to find another source of like support in Rachel, who also had the same vision as you, that like, hey, maybe we can work with Keanu and we should get Zay out of this house.
Yeah, because I think, and I know a lot of like people in the house, you're still trying to like figure people out and see things. Like I said, I was like studying people, if you will. I say studying because it's like, I don't know how else to phrase it, but like Zay was playing chess all the time and he was teaching people chess. And I know this is like, is it really that big of a deal, Morgan? Yes. When you think about the game of chess, I've been wanting to learn that since I was a kid. Zay taught me in one day and I beat him in one day. Like I literally actually accidentally checkmated him. And I was like, oh God, we really need to get him out because this was a complete accident on me checkmating him. But it's like, it's a game where you have to think 3 steps ahead. You have to see moves ahead of time, which is essentially what Big Brother is and how I was playing Big Brother. So I was like, okay, this guy is teaching people chess. He's starting to turn up his social game because he's on the block. Because his social game was like a full 180. He went from like only talking to people he really wanted to then talking to everyone. And he was very likable. I mean, I was like at the point where I was like, damn, if I didn't tell Amy that I was going to keep her, I might actually reconsider, you know, speaking to him. But then I had the one-on-one with him, with Rachel, which was quite interesting. But regardless, I just felt more of a bigger threat with Zay because one, we also did not connect. I connected with Keanu despite our like, you know, issue with the snake calling and whatever. Like we squashed it. And so after that, I was like, okay, cool. Like I can get past that. We had an adult conversation. Like that's also what you want to look for in a teammate, is someone who could be like, hey, you know what? I was wrong.
I'm just watching Darren. It does look like he's in the hypnosis. You guys are saying that. The poor guy's like,
bad or whatever, because this is a game where you have to last long.
Like I've seen Taryn in his like daily updates. He'll have guests on that'll say something, and he doesn't just confirm it because that's what they think. If he'll just be like, okay, moving on. Like, and here he's just like,
where like with Zay, it was just to me, he was
we don't even know if he's alive. I haven't even seen him move.
only wanting to work with people who he wanted to work with him.
I think he could have just got a cardboard cutout and put laid down on the ground with the microphone and just like,
That just wasn't me. So I mean, it wasn't valuable for me to keep him inside
And this is sped up to 1.2, you guys.
the house.
Taryn is like Weekend at Bernie's. He might have passed in this. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just in general, like a player like Zay, if he's on the block, he should be voted out. Just
right.
You know, he's too much of a bro. He's
Too much of a bro. He's got the abs. What does Auntie Jolene say? If you got abs, you gotta go.
too physically fit. He's
Annoying.
too potentially social.
Annoying.
If you are not one of his guys,
Annoying.
then he's a problem for you, and he's going to be way harder to take out down the line. And these were arguments that you guys were making, and very effectively so. It was wild to me that anybody considered anything else.
I thought the same thing. I was like, guys, he was a college cheerleader. Like they're extremely athletic. Like he's clearly sociable. I remember there was one night where everyone was up on like the blue couch, and he was making a group of people just hysterically laugh, and everyone started being like, "Oh, I love Zay, he's hilarious." And I'm like, "Get him out!" You know, I'm just like, no.
Yeah, I didn't think he was very funny, but
Like this is not happening. Like we can't keep somebody, especially over someone who, in my opinion, could have been easily beat. And like I learned this from Rachel. Rachel was like, Morgan, like, because she kind of gave me little tips early on, which is why I was like a sponge when it came to Rachel.
I told her I will keep you till jury. I want you in my jury until Rachel put her in her place in food storage. It was like, I am not going to jury, Morgan. Morgan, I am not going to jury, Morgan. And Morgan was like, no.
She had told me, she's like, if you are ever
the opposite of Keanu, basically.
right. But she was like, Morgan, if you like when you play this game, she's like, if you ever come down to a situation where if you to put yourself 1-to-1, can you beat them in a physical competition, or can you beat them in a mental? And if any of those questions are no, or multiple of them are no, or majority are no, they have to go. And so like when it came
I mean, that kind of seems pretty obvious.
to Zay versus Amy, I was like, oh, I would probably have a harder time beating Zay than Amy. So to me, it's a no-brainer. And that's also what I told Vince and Zach when we were in the wine room once. Zach was very adamant about keeping Zay. I'm sure for probably reasons that he was probably aligned with him or something.
Yeah.
Because they were in love. They were like, I want to make love in this club. Hey, in this club. Hey, in this club. Allegedly. They were like, I wish I had a video of them two, but I just had the Love Island one and I like that. I don't even think I have that. Or I do have this one, but this was Keanu.
You're freaking massive, bro. Keanu's obviously big as hell. He's just a really strong, fit guy, and I like that. Yeah, I know.
And I like that.
And I like that.
He's like, I want to keep competitors in the house and this. I'm like, so you want to keep somebody that could potentially beat you?
Yeah, because Zach was a horrible Big Brother player and went home with a power that he could have used to take himself off the block. But he was cocky and petty and horrible.
That doesn't make sense, you know? So that was kind of the angle that I was working, because I was like, oof, like they were very much like pro Zay. And I was like, well, let's get you guys on the other side of things, which at the first eviction, I think they voted to keep Zay, which made sense, to be honest. For them.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, I mean, obviously, like it's again, because you know, when you're in an alliance, obviously there are different competing interests. Like for Zach, he was best buds with Zay. Zay was always a number for Zach, which is bad for you guys. So
that was a bromance this season.
Yeah, and honestly, like the big critique that I often had for Zach and sometimes or often Vince as well throughout especially the first part of the season was like they didn't stand up for their people enough. Like they should have tried harder for Zay. They should have tried harder for some of these people that they just kind of let go. Like Adrian, I'm sure we'll talk about.
Great example. Yep.
So and
I don't really know what this is. Great example. Yes, exactly what I thought. I knew that. I feel like there's two Tarans kind of. Like Morgan's like, yep, I know exactly, totally.
And again, that's where I think I mentioned this when I was talking to like Ashley and Rachel that like you guys carrying this vote was really impactful for the rest of the season because you shouldn't have had the numbers. You know, Zay had the numbers. There were more people in that sphere of influence that wanted to do that, and they were making alliances, the Bond, the Burger Boys, you know, specifically so that they could pick up vote.
The crazy part is she's like, yeah, Burger Boys, but she doesn't even know what the Burger Boys is. Taryn has to like explain it to her, but she's like, yeah, burger boys. Yeah, it's totally cool. It's like,
and they just couldn't. And in particular, Lauren and Catherine somehow being on your side for this vote, even though basically never being on your side again.
Right.
And then even people like Ava, just being like, their arguments just make more sense.
Right.
You know, this was a very, such a great example for me, because I feel like a lot of people will say, you know, don't play too hard in the beginning. Don't push too hard. You lie low. But this is an example of a team of players pushing hard and making sure that they got their way on this one vote and changing the course of the entire season. And because everyone else was like, I don't want to push too hard against it, they let it happen, and then they lost a number.
Right. And that was something I think Rachel and I like noticed early, because I know even specifically when I was talking with Zach and Vince, like you said, they did.
Rachel and I noticed. Don't worry, you guys. Her and Rachel noticed it early.
Didn't really push back. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to kind of keep pushing.
We're only 38 minutes in, and we started at 26 minutes in. Oh my God.
What the hell?
It's inappropriate. Because since they're not pushing back, I'm going to keep pushing, and just in a very logical way. But I also use like a little thing where I was like, hey, look, like if we're on the opposite side of the votes this week, it's okay. Like it's the first week. I'm not going to blame you guys. And that was totally strategic, because I wanted them to trust me. So it's like, oh, if she's not going to be mad about it, cool, we'll still work with her, because I didn't want it to be where it's like I'm pushing what I want and then being like, okay, she's doing too much, like we can't work with her. It was more of like, hey, like this is what I think logistically. You guys are gonna do what you want. I'm totally respectful of that. Let's get like, no matter what happens, week 2, let's reconvene and figure something out. And it was kind of the same thing with like Catherine and Lauren when I was out by the pool with them. I never really had spoken game with them particularly, but they had been adamant about like wanting to speak game. So when we first talked about Zay, I just kind of leaned on the fact of like, look, like we're already.
We have to talk about every detail. Like, can we get to the bullet points?
I won't say like at a disadvantage, because I don't think that women cannot beat men at all. But I do think seeing how the boys were really kind of gravitating towards each other, I was like, you know, I think this is something.
And then you aligned with two boys, two boys, two boys.
Something that we have to just be mindful of, because at the end of the day, I kind of give him the same analogy of like, if we are looking at Zay, can we beat him in a physical competition? Can we beat him in a mental competition? And like after this was like the veto after Ashley won, thank God. He was the person who was second closest to winning that veto. So I was like, this is something we have to look at. Like that was a mental competition with like a little bit of physicality, because they're running. I was like, this is something we need to look at, guys. Like Amy was nowhere near close to winning that veto, nor the first nor the competition with because we had separate, competitions at the very beginning. So those were kind of like the angles that I was using, and it luckily worked. Thank God.
I mean, it's something that I have talked about for years.
It's inappropriate.
Years, especially because it was a problem that was sort of deepening, was that, at around Big Brother 25, which was kind of the peak of it, the previous like 5 years of Big Brother, men won 75% of competitions to women winning 25%. So they were winning 3 times as many competitions as women, which is a wild stat. And last season and this season, I think, have helped shift that around a bit.
Sure has. We love to see women winning.
I think a big.
You sure about that?
Part of that too is that they are casting more like athletes. You were an athlete, Chelsea, Mackenzie.
Yay! All my favorite players. No more athletes. Put it in the chat. Are you guys like, oh, I really hope Big Brother just casts more athletes like the challenge. You know what we need? We need athletes. So we can give everyone athlete's foot. Oh my gosh. All right. You guys hold on one second. I have to tell my husband that our little Buffy bear is ready to be picked up from her grooming. She's getting groomed and she's going to be ready in 20 minutes, and I don't want to make them late. So until then, let's check out Cheating Island.
Morgan, we're talking about real, obviously no game talk. We're talking about real life stuff, and she has a she's just telling me about life, and I empathize with her, and so yeah, we hugged, and apparently everyone left the room while we were still hugging, and Kelly said that he said, I thought we were on Big Brother, not Cheating Island, because that makes me want to just put him up front and stand my business and be like, you know what, Ashley, as much as she irritates the shit out of me, Ava, Kelly, Keanu, go up. You say you're being my friend and telling me what the perception is after Zingbot makes a zing, but you're making comments about when your girlfriend tells you to do something, you go do it. Mm-hmm. I thought we were on Big Brother Not Cheating Island. That's directly disrespectful to me. And you already put me on the block the week before jury. Morgan, we're talking about obviously no game talk. We were talking about real life stuff, and
I wasn't listening to you. I was listening to myself just now. I wasn't.
All of you are so stupid.
Sorry, I'm such a fucking bitch, man. Maybe I fucking suck at this game then. Sorry, I'm such a fucking bitch, man. Maybe I fucking suck.
Are you trying to? I feel like you're breaking up with me, like in the game.
Just thinking about something.
Are you trying to? I feel like you're breaking up with me, like in the game.
Just thinking about something.
I feel like you're breaking up with me in the game. In the game. All right, let's keep it going.
And that's, I think, helping because
Right.
you know, I think there are many reasons why this has been an issue for competitions, but I think one of the things that we talked about is that they tend to cast men for athleticism and women not for athleticism quite as much. And so that was an issue. But what that translates to in the game is that, yes, if you are somebody who is not as athletic and you see somebody athletic on the block, you should want them gone because they are a massive obstacle in your way. And people say like, oh, well, you know, not all competitions are physical. There are some luck ones. There are some mental ones. But the issue is that like in a luck competition or even a mental competition, almost anyone can win. Like you've got like maybe a 50-50, maybe you have a small edge, maybe you're better at memory or whatever. But in a physical competition, if somebody is more athletic than you, it's a brick wall.
It's
You're
pretty
just
much,
not gonna beat them. So the physical competitors winning like 99% of physical competitions, and then they're also still winning 50% of the other competitions. That's a huge difference.
For sure. And I think since we had Rachel added to our roster, like on the show, we had more women than men. So I was also like, okay, let's get out as many of the guys that aren't working with me as possible, because I don't want to have one more person to compete against more than I already have. And like I said, Zay was going to be a huge competitor. I said that since the very first time I saw his game kind of really transform. And here's the other thing. He had never seen Big Brother. So to see him go from coming in and just be like, yeah, bro, like I love being here, to then like strategizing and pulling people for one-on-ones and campaigning, I was like, oh yeah, this guy's got to go, which was great. It worked out. And like you said, I think it really helped shape like the trajectory of the game for sure.
All right, we should obviously also talk about Showergate, the
I was like, how long are we gonna talk about Zay? He was there for like 2 minutes.
inciting incident to the first set of nominations.
Yeah.
I think Zay was always going to be a nominee because he was just one of the immediate candidates for the accomplice. And so it was funny because we talked about this, that like the two candidates were Riley and Zay, and Riley was very upset that everyone voted him. But I was like, no, that's actually best case scenario is people vote for you and you're not the accomplice, because now you are definitively not the accomplice.
Right. You kind of gain sympathy and things. Like I went up to Riley and I was like, hey, just so you know, like I voted for you. Because I wanted to be transparent with him and be like, hey, I voted for you. So that way maybe he would kind of be like, oh, that was nice. She was honest. I can trust her. And, you know, someone's not lying to my face. And so I was like, I voted for you. I was like, to be honest, it was just kind of like, because like, we got steamrolled. People were just like, it's Zay or Riley. I'm like, hey, as long as you guys aren't saying my name, like, I don't really care, which it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But yeah, I agree. I think it was good for him that his name was brought up because everyone loved Riley. Like nobody was targeting him. Well, to his knowledge. But yeah, I think that helped him, but unfortunately not Zay. Because I know Vince had mentioned to me that because Zay never really went out of his way to speak to Vince, that's why he was on the block, was because he just didn't garner like a relationship with him. Yeah,
and so then Showergate happens. And I think we've kind of heard that this kind of stemmed from Catherine primarily, and then kind of, you know, once something like that is out there and it's like there's a scapegoat, it often spirals. And something I talked to Ashley about too is that like, and I think you had brought this up on the feeds, that like Catherine and Lauren were like the other women in Ashley's age range, like the people that she should have been able to relate to and have an in with. And so the fact that like Catherine was like the person shunning her to some degree was like especially damning, because like the people that were supposed to be her
BTW, Catherine and Riley are still together. So there's that.
in group.
And we haven't gotten results. You guys are asking, did we get results if he's the father of these alleged babies these women are claiming? I think he's still waiting It's still pending results, even though his mom told TMZ that we were going to find out. It's the longest test ever.
Should have been her in group.
The longest paternity test in the world. Ever since Maury Povich has retired. It now takes forever.
Were rejecting her. And that meant that she should have nobody and should be easy to target.
Right. And it was interesting because we were all sitting in the attic room. Adrian was actually talking about his praying mantis stuff. And Catherine comes in and just like plops down and was like, and just kind of spilled the tea. And all of us were just kind of like, wait, what? Like, we're talking about praying mantises. Now it's like this Showergate. And the reason why it also exploded was because Keanu talked about it a lot.
Okay, we don't really care. Like, I honestly don't care about Showergate. So we're going to fast forward through that, you guys.
Before eventually kind of coming around. But she was, I would say, like the only person really that was like looking at you in an accurate and skeptical way at that point.
Yeah. I mean, Ashley had great reads in the house. And obviously, we've all seen that, at least if you're on the live feeds.
How would you know? You haven't watched the live feed.
I know for me, like when it came to that, I know that she came to me for quite a few things. Like I remember we were in the bathroom one time and she was kind of asking me like what to do. Cause the thing is I was super close with Vince and she knew that. So I knew Vince wanted Ashley up because the way Vince worked.
Because Vince didn't think she deserved to be there. That was Vince's whole thing. He's like, she doesn't deserve to be here. Okay. I deserve to be here.
I don't have any foods now.
I used to work for FedEx and I delivered here and I deserve to be here, not her. She doesn't deserve it. Just me.
Worked was like, if he felt good about you, like once that conversation is done, like you should trust that conversation.
How can I'm getting more annoyed because how can you guys are making some great points. How can you have all these conversations and not have the Vince conversation when you spent the whole season like running his game, powdering his booty, these long hugs, all these like conversations about will they, won't they, options, October conversations, crying, but here we are.
But with her,
how can you not ask about that?
I guess repeatedly going back and back and back, he started being like, okay, if I trust you, like, and you keep coming back, like
it's not at all what Vince he hated her. Like Keanu didn't like her. They didn't like Ashley. They thought she was stupid. They thought she was superficial and they thought she didn't belong there.
Like what's kind of going on here?
And they thought she was Rachel's little butt buddy.
And so that's why when I would speak to Ashley, I would try to just be like, hey, everything's cool, girl. Like, if you feel like you need to talk to.
And yeah, it was part of Ashley's game at the end of the day, like you guys are saying, to have people think she wasn't, smart and that she had horrible reads in the house.
Somebody about it.
And that she was like Legally Blonde.
Like maybe talk to Keanu or someone who's actually, spreading the stuff about Showergate. Everyone else is kind of like trying to like let go of it. But the one thing I do love, and I think it's, pretty cool that Ashley recognized that because obviously it's like, she recognized my game. And I can, admire that. And that's pretty dope.
What? What'd she say?
Like, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody about it, like maybe talk to Keanu or someone who's actually, spreading the stuff about Showergate. Everyone else is kind of like trying to like let go of it. But the one thing I do love, and I think it's, pretty cool that Ashley recognized that because obviously it's like, she recognized my game.
Did she just say she recognized my game, which is super cool?
And I can, admire that. And that's pretty dope. The best part for me about Jimmy looking like the head of the snake of the alliance is because if that alliance was to ever come out, people go for the head of the snake. So, and I said it throughout the season with many people, like, as long as me, like I even told this to Zach and Vince, I was like, as long as the head of snake does not look like one of us, we're going to be fine. So who cares if the alliance ends up getting exposed?
As long as I have Zach and Vince.
As long as you're not the head of the snake.
Thus, feminism. Go girls.
You're going to be fine. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of snakes, of course, so this was on the feeds, right? So this was night 6 into day 7. Jimmy doesn't hug Keanu the next morning because he's heard now that Keanu's pitching him from Vince and many people really, Zach and Ava, basically everyone in the house except for like you and Rachel, and
me and Rachel.
And Keanu had seen you have this conversation. I talked to Keanu about this, that he saw your conversation with Jimmy, which was like you trying to like reconcile the argument you had over Zay and Keanu.
Yes.
And he believes that you ratted him out and calls you out on it. And this was another moment where like this drama happens. He calls you a snake. And Kelly immediately like runs to Vince because she still doesn't want to go on the block at this point, having already volunteered. And she goes to Vince and she's like, Vince, Keanu is causing all kinds of drama. He just made Morgan cry. So I think you can I think you can put him on the block now. And this is, I haven't talked to Vince, but like in my head, it was like, okay.
And that's where I would follow that up with, I haven't talked to Vince. Have you talked to Vince? And if she says, no, I haven't. Why haven't you talked to Vince? Have you tried talking to Vince? Have you tried reaching out to him? Do others talk to him? Have you heard anything from third parties regarding why he's not reaching out to you or what he's doing? I saw he was hanging out with Paul from BB18 and 19. And then you were hanging out with Paul around the same time. Did you happen to hang out together? Did Paul tell you anything that Vince said? What do you think is going on? Looks like he calls Keanu and other people on the phone. Why not you? He's allegedly, according to his video, not with Kelsey anymore. So why can't he be your friend? Does this hurt your feelings? What's going on? You guys were so close in the house. Are you secretly dating? It would be impossible for me not to address this. I would think it was an utter waste of time if I did it.
Okay, this is maybe an actual reason to go with this. Like, it seemed like he really was leaning Kelly, but Jimmy had been pushing really hard. And then when this came up, he was like, okay, I might actually do this. I need to talk to two people. I need to talk to Riley because at that point they were already in the Unexpendables. And so if you're going to if you're going to put up Keanu, he needs to make sure that Riley, who's in a final three with him, is okay with it. And Riley was just like, yeah, screw that guy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Crazy. I remember when I first found out about the final three, that they had, Keanu had told me, which was so funny. But yeah, to go back to that, I remember when that happened, Jimmy had came in, I was chatting with Mickey in the train room, and Jimmy came in, he goes, Keanu just called you a snake, and like storms out. And I was like freaking out because obviously the one thing that Jimmy was really good about was like,
I don't care that Keanu called her a snake. We're going to fast forward through this. No offense, Taryn. Great job. You're working hard. Also, someone said, I hope Taryn has a comfy chair. I think he's at a standing desk, but he's young. He's in shape. He can stand there, I guess.
Figure out the trail of like where things are and where they started.
Yeah.
So now we're at an hour in. Let's see where we're at on the Big Brother timeline.
So of course, Kelly goes on the block. We already talked about the campaign against Zay.
Oh my God, we're still talking about Zay.
Of course, there were a few alliances I'm sure you've heard about.
She's snacking. Taryn can't snack. I think that's unfair because Taryn can't eat on stream. They will not like that. And the podcast listeners will be like, what is that chewing?
I mentioned them already. The bond is created by...
He brought snacks for Taryn. He does not have a snack because this is live, you guys. This isn't pre-recorded. I wonder if he got a potty break.
Basically, Vince and Zach, Vince in particular, once Kelly goes on the block, is very much like, oh my God, I'm so worried that like now that I've put Kelly on the block, if she leaves, I'll look like an idiot. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna try to. People love this the impression, but it's been so long. I don't know if I have it in me anymore. But he was like, I'm very very worried that Kelly's gonna go. And
I wonder if that was part of the contract. I'm gonna have snacks, and don't ask me about Vince or our areola to areola hugging. Don't even start.
And so don't
ask me if I talk to him. Don't ask me if he exists. I will bring him up, but you may not, and I will have lots of snacks.
Started campaigning like really heavy for Kelly to stay. And this was obviously a problem for him and Rachel because he was using Rachel as sort of like the demon that needed to be slayed. We can't keep Amy in the game because Rachel, she's close to Rachel.
I think they'll probably get offended by the impressions. I don't know. They want safe. They want safe. These house guests coming out now. Some of them really want us there. They want you to promise them a safe space to talk about the game, which, yeah. So, I mean, I never thought Taryn was an unsafe space. Like he's not going to like offend them. He makes it a point to not do that.
And that's a big problem. And so
the problem is like nobody playing this game knows anything about anything and about Big Brother or knows anything about RHAP. So that they wouldn't know that because they get cast on a show they know nothing about. And then they want to tell us that they know everything about it and we don't know anything. And you just got to be there. And we're like, we basically are there. It's called the live feeds in a lot of ways. We still know more than a lot of you.
From this is where I was like, you know, putting Kelly up and then campaigning so hard against her, for her, really like put him in at odds with Rachel, and the way that he campaigned put her at odds with Rachel. And so him and Zach started like really doubling down on this idea that like we can't let Kelly be voted out. We can't let Zay be voted out. It has to be Amy. And so they started like branching out, and they formed the Bond Alliance, which was themselves with Lauren and Will and Amy. Or sorry, not Amy, Ava. And then this, unfortunately for them, backfired because Ava, despite just being included in the alliance, Ava was like, they were like, yeah, so now we should vote out Amy, right? And Ava was like, frankly, I don't think that's a good idea.
Frankly, yeah. Yeah, Ava was such a character. And I think the one thing I loved about Ava is like, for the most part, when she knew what she wanted to do, you could not tell her otherwise, unless you had legitimate like ways to be like, hey, this is what I think. But that's so interesting. I did not realize that they were campaigning so hard, but it makes sense because I do know that they did not want Zay to go. I knew that they wanted to vote out Amy. So that kind of like puts the puzzle pieces together on.
Because they was working with the boys.
For one, campaigning for Kelly to stay, but more importantly, the reason why Rachel started to not like Vince, because that was one thing I never understood. I was like, okay, one of y'all did something to piss each other off to the point where she's coming after you hard. It was probably Vince. Clearly it was Vince. And it makes sense. I mean, if I was Rachel, I'd be pissed off too. It's like, wait a second. For one, Amy was her number one. Amy was not a big threat. And I get why Rachel's like, why are we trying to get Amy out when she's not a threat? She literally would tell everyone, even like when Amy wasn't around, like, guys, we really think Amy's a threat here. Like, come on, let's be real. So that's so interesting because I felt so confident that week as far as like getting Zay out, because I feel like I had really good conversations with people and people were understanding it. I was more so working harder to make sure that Vince and Zach saw the light. They were the hardest ones that week to get them to understand. And it's like I said, I understood that they wanted Zay to stay. But I was just hoping that Kelly, because I even told Kelly, I was like, I'm just glad you won because I did not want to vote you out if Zay won. Like, but I had already told Amy that I was going to keep her. And to be fair, Amy versus Kelly, I would have kept Amy regardless because she was the least like biggest threat on the block.
Oh God. Yeah. Goldie says Ava's eating steak and clubbing in lace bodysuits. Let's skip ahead a little bit. No offense, all offense, guys.
They're like making this alliance and they're like,
oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So this is when I think she finds out about the Burger Boys. But remember before she was like, yeah, the Burger Boys. Yeah. I know about that alliance.
A very funny alliance starting conversation because it was so transparent that basically Vince and Zach pull in Riley and Zay and Will. So it's those five guys.
Okay. Okay.
And they're like, let's form like a bro alliance. And basically the entire point of this, because they already thought they had Riley's vote, the entire point of this alliance was to get Will's vote to keep Zay. And so they're pulling Will in and they're like, hey, we're going to make this, it's the Burger Boys the Burger Boys. And they each had like a portion of the burger that was dedicated
like
to
the
them.
lettuce or something.
Yeah. I don't remember the details.
No way. That's actually iconic. That's hilarious. Like you're the top bun, you're the tomato, you're the meat. Oh my God.
Exactly.
That is hilarious. I'll give them like 10 out of 10 for like cleverness for sure.
They're like making this alliance and they're like, yeah, so Will, now that we have this alliance, we should probably vote to keep Zay, right? And Will's like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And so this is, I believe, why Will ended up being a vote to keep Zay, despite it not really making any sense for him to do so otherwise.
Yeah, that makes so much sense now because I know like Mickey, myself, Ashley, and Will kind of had a connection early on. We never really
makes so much sense now.
Made an alliance, but we were just kind of like, we're going to have each other's backs. Like, let's work together. And I know that after that vote, Mickey and I were kind of like, wait, why would Will? Because like Will told us that he was keeping Amy. And so when we found out that, because I appreciated Will for this and it made me want to work with him or at least consider like down the line if I needed to trust in someone, I could trust in Will because he was honest about voting to keep Zay. And I was like, okay, like, cool. Like, I get it. Totally fine. Like I said, week one, I really wasn't going to put as much stress on people being like, oh, you voted this person because I'm like, it's week one. I don't want to target. But that makes sense. That alliance, everything, that all pieces together, it totally makes sense.
They're reminding me in the chat that Vince was the cheese of the burger.
You know, I guess like he's a Green Bay Packer fan, so that kind of fits.
Why is he a Green Bay Packer fan?
That's hilarious.
I guess he just like picked a team, but he was from California. I guess people do that. Okay.
The cheese. That's hilarious.
Yes. So
she knows a lot of. She's like, well, yes, his favorite team is the Green Bay Packers. His favorite quarterback was Brett Favre, except for when, and even after when he found out that Brett Favre did that stuff with the charity money that he wasn't supposed to do and sent pictures of his own penis around. He still kind of kind of likes him.
So ultimately, of course, as we've talked about, you guys carry this vote to the end. Kelly pulls out a win, and Zay is
Thank
evicted
God.
over
Yes.
Amy. Massive result, hugely
Yeah.
influential
Oh my
over the course
God.
of the season. And this is immediately obvious when Zach is bawling his eyes out. At Zay's
Bawling. I was
eviction.
like, I'm like, Zach, it's been
Because he was in love in the club. Hey.
10 days, respectfully.
That's what
you
we
know, but it's
thought.
okay because the thing is
That's
that the
what
thing
we
that I
thought.
will say is like
10
in that
days.
house, you really bond with
Oh, yeah.
people.
No, don't give him an excuse, Morgan. Zach sucks. And it was ridiculous. The tears that Zach cried was horrible.
So I honestly was like,
Okay, we got.
I mean, I cried a lot in the season. I this, but I'm really trying to get as much information, like who did really well, whatever. And when they said that Adrian technically finished it first, Zach just players, there were certain things that I was paying attention. She's like, you know, I'm a mom.
Guys, Taryn never talks.
You're gonna have to.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, and goes, actually, I might have forgotten. I'm not sure. I might have misspoke. And so he kind of backtracks on throwing Jimmy under the bus. So then Keanu goes back to Jimmy, and he's like, hey, I think this might have been a misunderstanding. And Jimmy's like, yes, it was a misunderstanding. Sure.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Of course.
Exactly. So now Keanu feels like he has some kind of like secret connection to Jimmy that everyone else will think they're against each other, except he then goes around saying it's a misunderstanding. And so this is the foundation of like the Jimmy Keanu relationship. He thinks he has this kind of like under the radar connection to Jimmy that doesn't really exist. And Jimmy is just basically yes-anding, like just nodding along.
Of course.
And when Jimmy wins HOH, he obviously puts Keanu up. He's like, yeah, sorry, I have to. And then when Keanu wins when Casey wins the veto, Jimmy, of course, has to pretend again, like, I'm so happy that this happened, Keanu.
Right.
And the Will nomination stems from he felt like he had already wanted to nominate Will, but he has this conversation with Keanu where Keanu really wanted Will on the block as well for a whole host of very silly reasons. He thought Will was lying about his vote because really Riley was
She remembers that, Taryn. Move on.
lying about his vote. And he blamed
She already knows. Why are we doing this? She already knows this stuff.
that on Will because he believed Riley. And so he wanted Riley up. And so Jimmy was like pretending to be convinced by Keanu to put Will on the block so that Keanu would feel like he had influence over Jimmy. So that was kind of like a win-win scenario for Will. Was a perfectly fine third replacement nominee.
Sure.
If he didn't want to do both Riley and Catherine. But then Amy was the real problem here.
That didn't make any sense.
It just didn't make any sense. In his mind, I think it did because Amy had said his name the week before and they had a little bit of drama.
$20 says Morgan starts doing daily live feed updates. She's gonna head over to my Twitch for the daily live feed updates with Morgan, BB27. The best strategist ever.
And he also, I think, was swayed a little bit by that idea of like, let's weaken Rachel to some degree. But you and Rachel and Mickey just kept like, you can't do this. You can't be doing this. And he would not listen to you. And as we established from the week before, that means there's a problem. And you recognize that.
Yeah, that was something that week 2 was really tough for the triple threat because Mickey and I kind of clocked how Jimmy was spending a lot of time with Catherine and Lauren and kind of going around and kind of being.
But you were spending time with Vince and Zach.
Like this, hey guys, I'm HOH, like who wants to talk to me? Like let's do this. And it's like, well, we're your, to my knowledge, like we're your final 3.
What about Vince and Zach? You guys were literally together all the time.
So if anything, it's like we should talk and be like, what can we do as a trio? Who can we nominate to make sure that
I'm calling it. She's gonna do it. She's gonna do it.
We make it further. What like relationships do we need to build? Like where do we need to kind of like clear things up or whatever? And so that was hard because he didn't speak to us really until after everything was done. Because I remember going up there and all he told me was like, yeah, you're not going to like what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And I was like, so then in my head, I was like, okay, I'm not going to fight back because this is how Jimmy wants to play. But I'm immediately noticing that like he does not care about my opinion or like want to know about it. So like as an alliance member, that's going to be really tough moving forward because it's going to be very much like, this is what I'm doing. And like, I don't really care, which to be fair, everyone should play their own personal game. But I still felt like week 2 is too early to kind of be, how about no, this is what I'm doing, especially when it's players like Amy who really weren't going to be a big threat. And we had someone like Riley, who all of us in the heavy hitters were like, he said he doesn't want to play this game. He said he's on vacation. Like he doesn't want to meet with us. Why are we keeping somebody in the house that doesn't?
He wasn't on vacation. He was awaiting paternity test results, which he still is. And we know you can't work while you're awaiting paternity test results. It's very stressful.
Want to play the game. And that's something that Jimmy was even very like open arms about. So that's why I was confused why he didn't want to put up Riley. 'Cause I'm like, wait, you even said that you were disappointed in the way that he's playing this game. So you have people that are going to back you on that. Why did it change? You know, that was like my biggest question.
And I will always advocate, like, you shouldn't.
Yes, Angela Clark Little. Angela Clark Little.
It's inappropriate.
You nailed it. This cast is very full of themselves. A lot of people that love themselves. They're like, I love myself. I hug myself. Which I think it's good. It's good to love yourself. It's good to have self-esteem. It's good to believe in yourself. But not too much. Not where it crosses the line of I am the best. I know everything, even though I didn't know this game existed a couple months ago.
Play for the team. You should play for yourself. So, you know,
Absolutely.
obviously there's an element of that you have to like be a team player to some degree. You can't just completely go off on your own. I talk about Memphis a lot in the second All-Star season. Not that he played a great game by any means, but like in the early,
They did hook up with Christmas. And then him and Halloween got married. And then him and Flag Day got in a public fight with another couple in Florida at a strip mall. Classic. Okay. And then got divorced. Big brother love.
weeks, he made a very selfish move, and the alliance was so frustrated, and then they got over it because they kind of had to because they just kept winning. But the difference is that he made a selfish move that actually benefited him, and Jimmy was making a selfish move that didn't benefit him by putting Amy on the block. He was taking away his own numbers by taking Amy out, and so that was frustrating. And the thing that got me is that like after it happened, and you guys,
Jimmy's HOH, just being reminded of it makes me mad. How stupid it was, how dumb it was. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. You're never going to get me to be like, Jimmy was great.
were mad. He was like, well, why didn't you say anything?
Oh my God, I know. And I had literally pulled him just before the renom. I had told him, I was like, hey, and this was the only time I ever actually threw someone's name under the bus and suggested them. And I suggested Riley. I was like, look, I spoke to a lot of people. We're down to support you in Riley. Like, so if you're down for it, just know you have people who are going to support you and like, you're going to have successful HOH. And I was like, but at the end of the day, do what you want to do. Cause I usually said that to make it to seem like I wasn't trying to tell people what to do. But at the end of the day, whatever you want to do is what you're going to do. But I tried my best. Cause that was the only thing that I was like, dang, like you spend all this time talking to other people and like kind of making a move that doesn't make sense for not only the triple threat, but like our side of the house. I don't think there was a legit split house immediately. I think there was pockets, but as far as like the numbers we had, that was definitely like not a good move for like our side of things.
Yeah, and from my perspective, this is the true like origin of the tension between you and Mickey and Lauren and Catherine. It really stemmed from this week. And there were seeds of it before maybe, but like it really culminated here because you were pushing for, you know, Riley and Catherine to go up, and Jimmy was not doing a good job of damage control there. He was really fanning the flames. Like,
he was.
Mickey was like coming in and like trying to talk to you were coming and trying to talk to him, but they were there the whole time. And then he would like not like have like private conversation. They'd be like, should we leave? And like the tension was obvious for them. And so they started to feel, and then they started to like, Catherine started to ask Jimmy, like, what's Mickey saying? And Jimmy at one point did throw Mickey under the bus. He said that she's pitching you a little bit. And this is, I said this because obviously I think Mickey's HOH was quite disastrous for her game. But the main thing, the biggest, in my view,
Don't tell Mickey about this. Does Mickey know? And she replied,
biggest thing that she had genuine grievance for is that he did throw her under the bus this week. Now from this point forward, he is team Mickey and Morgan. Like he is very much so, but he really screwed this up. He really thought he had something with Catherine and Lauren. And then the following week, I think he realized he didn't. And he went all in on triple threat again, but like he really screwed this up and it really caused a lot of tension. And Lauren and Catherine were up in the HOH from talking like, you know what? I don't think we can work with that side. And it was because of this power struggle between for Jimmy's nomination, I think, that really started that whole thing, and it never really went away.
Yeah. So what Mickey and I ended up learning was that Jimmy was like you said, there was little seeds before. He had came up to us. It was actually me, Mickey, and Ashley up in the blue couch, and he came up and he's like, yeah, like I was talking to Catherine and Lauren, and like they don't really like. He was like they really don't like you. they definitely don't like you and like they're unsure about you, like pointing
messy
to me. And I was just like, well, that's not comforting. And especially if they don't like girls that I'm like enjoying being around. Cause even then, like I feel like Ashley and I actually started like really kind of bonding like week 4, the week of like Zach and Vince being on the block. But at that time I was still cool with Ashley. I had no problem with her. So I was like, oh, these girls are mentioning that they don't like us. That's so weird. Cause like I haven't done anything, you know? And then he was telling them the same thing. Like these girls don't like you. So he was kind of already creating like a separation, which if I had to guess, it was just to bring us closer to Jimmy and then like them closer to Jimmy. So like I understand like the potential move of that. I thought it was just way too early to do something like that because obviously we saw it backfired. So I don't think the initial thought was incorrect. I just think, like you said, like he didn't damage control well enough, actually just enjoyed fanning the flames. And someone like me, I was going to go around trying to figure out like who was talking about me and like what is actually being said. Cause like, what are we doing? Because I know I was not a messy player. I actually didn't even suggest Catherine. Riley was the main person because he was so adamant about Amy. So I was like, okay, like let's at least just get Riley. Like because
that was the slam dunk option. Nobody would have been upset other than Keanu and Catherine. And that is just not a problem. That was such a good, easy solution. But you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the only other thing that I will add as well is like when I was up in the HOH room at one point with Catherine, him and Lauren, they were really talking negatively about Amy, but more so even Ashley. And that was when
we remember that.
Was like, okay, just like you said, I don't know where Jimmy's alliance is at this point, like where his allegiance is, because first you're like, you know, I'm in a room where you guys are openly talking about, you know, Amy crying too much.
Catherine really liked to, she would like to talk her shit. Catherine would talk her shit.
Now she just needs to go. And then Ashley being annoying and like, why is she in this house? And that's where like, obviously there's a clip where I go to Catherine and I'm being like, what's wrong with Ashley being here? Cause like,
so she's seen some clips. That's good.
I did not understand how even Ashley's name got brought up. I was like, okay, cool. Showergate, that's already over. For my knowledge, it's squashed. So then I was like, okay, they're like, he's either getting way too much information from them or being too influenced. And that's when I kind of bring it to Mickey being like, I don't know where Jimmy lies and he's not meeting with us. Like, this is concerning. He's supposed to be with us. I truly don't know what's going on.
Let's get rid of him
at all.
Yeah, I mean, and the Jimmy thing, I think we see this with Vince later on as well, that like players this season often tried to like separate, or not even tried to in some cases, but like Jimmy should have been bringing you together. I think more than putting you apart. And I'm sure we'll talk plenty about that with Vince and you and Lauren. But
will we?
But like you know, people think like, oh, if I'm everyone's number one, I don't want them to get along. But the problem is that if your allies are targeting each other, you're going to lose allies. Like
Exactly.
that's not good.
Exactly.
And so that
I feel like that was a direct question or direct comment for Morgan. She's like, exactly right. That's what I told Vince. If Lauren's coming after me and I'm on her block, well, then he's got to get rid of her. He's got to make it that. Thank you, Taryn.
causes problems. The Ashley thing starts this week.
That was so for Morgan. Morgan was like, yes, finally somebody understands.
You mentioned that.
If you're my number one and your number one wants me on their block, you got to put them on your block. Because I'm not going on their block, but they're going to go on my block. I'll tell them they're going on my block, but they need to go on your block so that I don't go on their block, but they can come on my block. Block.
It's primarily because she started talking about how she saw, again, she was seeing you as being in this really powerful position. She saw Vince was all of a sudden like in a seemingly in a very powerful position, and that Zach was tight with you guys, and that you were staying up very late talking. And she was
very late, Taryn. Very late, with lots of huggies.
Like, okay, this is dangerous.
Huggies.
Like they are clearly the front runners to win, and she was trying to like feel people out to see where their heads were at. She actually does make some progress with Mickey, getting Mickey a little paranoid of you and Zach and Vince. But she also, and she talks to Adrienne about it. She talks to Ava about it. Obviously, she talks to Rachel about it. She makes a mistake when she talks to Kelly a little bit about it, because Kelly runs it right to Vince, because she still at this point thinks that she's like Vince's number one. And Vince.
Morgan's like, yeah, but it was me. It was me, Taryn. I was his number one.
Like crashes out about it. He goes to Zach and they rant and rave about how dare she. Zach says, I'm about to make her life a living hell.
They did not like
all of that. And they think that they can use this information to turn you against Ashley, because Ashley's talking about you. Like we can now finally get Morgan to kind of like get away from that side and come more to us by telling her about this Ashley stuff.
Like dudes.
And you were like a little frustrated by it to some degree, but like you were like, you didn't really waver from like, well, it's annoying, but like we have a mission here.
Right.
We can't let ourselves be
She's a gamer. She knows her mission.
swayed from the objective.
Hashtag gamer girl.
Right. Because I think at the end of the day, like, you're playing a game where people are going to lie. They're going to manipulate. They're going to try to get you to do what they want you to do. And I already knew how I felt about like Mickey, Rachel, and I knew that even Will and even Ashley was on that side of things. I'm like, if I choose to like pick this fight or make this a big deal, I'm going to start losing allies and I'm like, it's not worth it, because the people that, at least so far, because we were on the opposite side of the vote for a couple times with Zach and Vince, I'm like, what? So I'm just supposed to go over to you guys and be like, yeah, screw Ashley. And then now I have no allies and I'm in a worse position. Like, that's not happening. So I started figuring out how I can gain more information and figure out like, what is this discourse between Ashley and I? And like, how can I meet up with her and talk to her? And it ended up coming from Zach. Like, he was telling me one thing about Ashley, telling her about me. And it was just kind of like this back and forth. Even Mickey was part of that. And that's when we...
Yeah, because you all were kind of vying for Zach's attention. Nobody can lie. I don't want any revisionist history. All these ladies were like, oh, Zach. And we were all like,
see, I don't know what if it showed it on the feed or on the show, but that's when when Ashley and I were talking in the backyard, and I was like, I basically was mentioning like, hey, I'm hearing some things. Obviously the answer was going to be Zach, but I was not going to mention his name. And so that's when she's like, okay, I think we really need to talk because I'm hearing this. And I was like, I haven't said that. So then we obviously learned that we had people close to us trying to pin us against each other. And that's when I took Ashley and Zach in the room. And I was like, okay, like now it's time to be adults. Let's talk about this actual beef because this is ridiculous. Like, why are it's too early in the game to like be, at least, and that was just not a good move for me. Like, I wanted to be cool with Ashley because she was close with Rachel. It made sense.
And this, you're talking about the,
Taryn doesn't even know what she's talking about. She's like, okay.
this was like
This is a man who has impeccable notes of every day. He's like, you're talking about what?
This was week 4, but
Okay.
We're talking week 2 when they started feeling some type of way about Ashley. Go ahead.
It all kind of like, this was, I think, this, because like the Showergate thing was one thing. And then I think it was like people, and by people, I mean mostly like Zach and Vince, were like waiting for another kind of concrete reason, because Ashley kind of climbed out from under Showergate.
Give Taryn a snack. I keep seeing her eating snacks. And Taryn's he had no snacks.
But and I think that was frustrating. And it was like, well, can we find another thing? And so it was like, here's a concrete reason why people should not be like, Ashley shouldn't have power in this game. And then that, and it was kind of working for a little while, and it took a while for, you know, the three of you to kind of clear things up. But of course you eventually do. But this was kind of the start of it, or at least the reignition of it here.
I can't remember exactly when it was, but I remember there was a period of time. I don't know if it was week 4. It could have been week 3, but I remember.
Just watch Darren's face, you guys. It's cracking me up.
Ashley, go ahead. Oh, no.
No, you, me? No, me. Okay, I'll go. Me, me. You, no, not you, me. Okay. You.
I was gonna say, Ashley was in the shower and the boys were in the wine room, and I was going back and forth, kind of like telling Ashley, I'm like, hey, like, because I was talking to the guys. I was like, so how do we feel about Ashley?
It kind of reminds me, I have a family member who, not immediate, okay, who even if she wasn't born at the time something happened, or she wasn't there, she's like, this is how it happened. And I'm like, but you weren't there. But I know. And I'm like, but you were literally a zygote. So how can you have this memory? Well, no, this is how it went. And it's just like, maybe that's why this is just painful for me, because it just reminds me of that. Where like everything, even if she wasn't there or not born, she knows the story and she knows it better than you, and she's going to correct you and she's going to add in details that they don't matter, but just so she can say things that she knows something.
Actually, I really feel like, you know, a lot of this is misunderstanding. I'm just kind of like trying to get them to look at Ashley in a non-threatening way, because to me, she was not a big threat at that time. Like, yes, she was connected to Rachel, but like we still had, you know, Adrian in the house.
Taryn's like, we're almost 2 hours in. I don't even think we're past Amy's eviction yet, right, guys?
Keanu, Kelly, like bigger people that were going to probably be a little bit more like annoying to work with. It's not like annoying as like them as people, but like, you know, someone like Kelly, who was great at, you know, mental competitions. Keanu clearly, you know, was physical threat. Like Adrian was attached. So just kind of things like that. But I remember telling the guys like, look, I don't think we should look at Ashley this way. Like I'm almost positive she wants you guys to be like at the jury phase. And they're like, really? So then I go to Ashley in the shower. I was like, yeah, like the guys, like they feel good. Like I just was literally going back and forth, basically telling both of them what I wanted them to believe.
Doing the complete opposite of what Jimmy was doing, which is trying to get your allies to not target each other. Yeah.
Yes. And then that's why when I went and talked with with Zach and Ashley, we were able to like mend things to the point where Ashley was like, oh, well, let's bring more people. Let's make an alliance. And that's when I was like, oh, let's not get like too crazy just yet, because if we start like bringing people in, it could end up imploding. Like, let's just kind of keep this a thing for now. But like, that was something that I noticed immediately. I was like, just like I did with Mickey, brought Mickey into the melting pot. I'm like, if I can get my allies to get along and not go against each other, that's going to help me move forward in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. So what was happening in week 2 was that because of Jimmy not listening to you guys, you were thinking about sort of like redoing the alliance without Jimmy, and you were floating the idea of Ashley as somebody to include in the alliance, and Zach and Vince were like very against this.
Well, it was more of like as an extension, you know what I mean? Like that was like
they
a
were
really
like,
good
we
word
don't
to
want her
use.
involved at all, and so that they were trying to use this as a way to sort of like
Can he finish?
keep her out of it.
Exactly, because they wanted Lauren as an extension. So I was like, okay, if you guys both want Lauren as an extension, then I want Ashley as an extension. And they were just like, oh, and I'm like, well, I mean, like are we not working together? Like this is about numbers right now. Like I think
they always were trying to add in Lauren.
Whatever you guys are, dealing with Ashley, it's like a bigger issue for y'all when it's like because I think a lot of people really did underestimate Ashley. I feel like I was one of the only people outside of like Rachel who really saw Ashley for like the game player that she was. And so that was always like frustrating for me when I would see people like talking about her or like trying to be like, oh, Ashley this. And I'm like, well, I was like, just because she's not doing what you guys would typically think a Big Brother player would do as far as like, maybe being more forefront about like game stuff. Like she's here. Like she should be here. You know what I mean? And I had a good feeling about her. So that's why I tried my best to get them to not look at her in a negative perspective, to get her out, because I needed her in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the rest of this week is relatively straightforward because it's just such a losing battle to keep Amy.
Which means relatively straightforward means let's just power through.
You were able to carry the vote last time because you did have people like Catherine and Lauren on your side, and Ava.
I'm getting hungry now. Morgan keeps snacking, and now I'm hungry.
But against Will, you don't have Ava. You've already lost Lauren and Catherine. And so now the votes are just not even close to there. And so there's not much you can do to keep Amy around, which is a loss. But like, in terms of people who are going to win competitions, like if they were going to take a shot, Amy was probably the worst person to have taken out for them.
And we know that. And everybody knows that. And it's so obvious that that was a waste.
But it was the one they could get with Jimmy. So it was still a win for them. One of the very few that they ended up having.
Yeah. And I will say like,
no, we don't got to say anything because there's nothing more to say about Amy. We're good.
I was more than happy to keep Will that week. Like that was.
Yep. Yep.
Was one thing where I was like, if it's Will and Amy, like I'm not going against Will. I found more value in Will.
Cool. We know.
We had more like conversations, and I just enjoyed him as a person for one. And I felt like he was very knowledgeable, and it's always really good. And in my opinion, like when I was going to the house, I wanted to also align myself with people who are older because they have.
I wanted to be with the elderly because I didn't want to be an ageist, and so I wanted to be with the people that were close to their grave, soon to be dead, people who, 1 foot in the ground, if you will. Yeah. Even though he's only 50 and I'm 35, he was very elderly, very old, I thought he was a ghost at first. I was like, oh no, you're alive. I just thought he was like haunting, because he was just so elderly.
Like they're more wise and they can see things.
They're wise. They're like wizards or witches. They're just like old people, just know stuff, just always very smart, prone to fall, but very smart.
Especially, from his perspective, he always used to say that he feels like he was at like the cookout or like something where he's watching all the kids play. So he's seeing a lot more things than I'm seeing. And so I'm like, if I can have someone who feels like confident in me and trusts me, or at least is aligned, I'm willing to keep that versus someone like Amy, who I never really had those like as deep of game conversations with her. Like the last conversation I had was just like, hey, like,
how long are your extensions? Like Amy, you got eyelash extensions. They fell off. You look a little different, but you look good.
Vote me to stay because like I'm not going to go against the girls. And while that is a very compelling argument because I am in fact a girl, it's like
I'm aligned with 2 men whom I love, Zach and Vince.
Well, at what point is that going to change, or like what values can you bring to me as a player other than like, oh, I won't put you up? It's like, well, what if you don't win? Then like, what are you bringing? Because it's like that's where you need people who are going to campaign for you or like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which obviously Will was going to win and campaign for you.
And I think last
like she's never gonna beat the allegations of the not a girl's girl. She's just like, the reason I prioritize this man in front of another, in front of a woman, was penis.
Thing on this week is that at this point we were definitely looking at you and Mickey as like it was I think giving a little bit of like Chelsea and Brooklyn, like a sort of like powerhouse duo that was.
Who's Chelsea in Brooklyn? Really? Could see that.
Connected in many ways. And this was the first sign here, just a tiny bit. We were like, what is Mickey doing? Because she was getting really close to Adrian.
Mickey had the weirdest relationships with just random people. I love him. We're like, who? Over there. Adrian. Yeah. He loves bread. I love him. Riley. He loves yelling at women. I love him.
And as I mentioned, Ashley had been trying to get in Mickey's ear to try to pull her closer to like her side of things so that she'd have a little more of an in. And so I think Mickey was feeling a little bit nervous about Zach and Vince and you. And so in her mind, that meant, what if I could maybe like snipe Zach or something? And so she started talking to Adrian about like, hey, I'm worried about Zach. I think that like maybe we should, like, he's got $10,000 already. And I, to this day, don't know why she thought Adrian was like going to keep that information to himself, because of course he ran it right back to Zach. Which eventually
Adrian was just such a waste of a casting. Like, it was so boring. Bring a book. I can't even get over it. Like, oh,
it causes you some problems, but it doesn't end up being a big thing. But for us, it was the first sign that like Mickey's judgment there was a little off, but we were like, she's still doing really well though. So it'll be fine.
Yeah, Mickey was really great. I was really, really happy because, like, obviously I went to her and I was like, hey, I don't know if Jimmy's proposed a final two, but like, she's the only person that I actually proposed a final two to. And so I was literally going to make sure that her and I sat in those final two chairs, no matter what it took. But when I was getting wind of like, you know, just how she was moving, I was just really confused because I'm like, wait, like, we're supposed to be working together. She was the one person that I told literally everything to. Like, Vince didn't know everything at the time because obviously Mickey was my number one. I was giving Vince as much information as I could that wouldn't harm like our, you know, bond in the house.
what the fuck is going on?
But Mickey knew
You were telling Vince everything. That's what?
Everything. I mean, like, she knew about my relationship, like with Zach and Vince, like on that trio. Like, she knew. She was the only person that knew, because I'm like, I want her to know that I'm taking.
You guys were together all the time, like all the time. Everybody knew, Morgan. You were totally a threesome.
Taking this to the finals. So if I give her valuable information, she's going to take that close, which I think is in turn why she shared the power with me. Like, so we were really working together. But yeah, I think that week was interesting. Her kind of feeling doubt, because I mean, we knew come week two that everyone had us as the open trio. Like, we all knew that. Like, me, Vince, and Zach were like laughing about it one night, being like, well, they already know, so we might as well just keep doing it, because who cares? We really didn't care. I didn't care. I was one of those people where I'm like, look, if people want to play, then let's play. Like, if they see us as a trio, they see us as a trio. Like,
let's play. Let's play, bitches.
No harm, no foul. Like, I was like, to be fair, guys, we're in the wine room, which is right next to the bathroom. We're not keeping this a secret. Like, we're not trying to hide this. So we can't really get upset if people find out, because we're basically sitting there with a sign that says, hey.
Clearly no one on this season hid anything. Like, everyone knew what?
We're in an alliance. Like, come on.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Now what's she snacking on? I'm so jelly.
All right. How you feeling? You feeling good so far? You like
the sitting there with a sign that
says,
hey.
Did they go back in and edit this?
We're in an alliance. Like, come on.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe they took a potty break and then after the fact went in and edited it. You can in YouTube.
How you feeling? You feeling good so far? You like?
No, I'm not. I'm feeling pretty bad. Taryn, I'll be honest with you. So far, I really, not a lot of interesting stuff has happened. And I know that you probably can't ask the interesting stuff, but I'm just like, wrap it up. We're 2 hours in, bro. I'm not feeling good about it.
Oh, I'm feeling good. It's great.
Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
Can be here all day. Yeah.
Please don't.
You know me.
All right.
I can go till 4 a.m.
You're going to kill him. You're going to kill him, Morgan.
I don't know if you know what you signed up for, Taryn.
People always talk about like, oh man, we're like an.
Thank you, The Search with Lisa, for the super chat, or the super sticker, I should say. Oh, thank you so much. You guys, why is it like this? Why is it like this?
Hour in, we've only done week one, but like it usually speeds up.
Taryn, that was wishful thinking at 1:50. This is 7 hours, Taryn.
as we go through, because like there's so much that happens in those first few weeks, and
Right.
things get a lot
Like the
more
foundation.
simple.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. She knows. Quit telling her, Taryn. Stop it. This is her deep dive. She knows.
All right. Well, let's talk about week 3, because this is definitely
Oh my God.
another very key week to
Yes.
like the direction of the game, because Lauren wins this HOH.
Mhm.
Your best friend.
And this is one where most people I've talked to were very surprised about how this week went down, hearing about it. So we'll see.
I can't wait.
But Lauren wins HOH.
Yep.
Her initial instinct when she won is, I want to nominate Will, Keanu, and Ashley. Those are the 3 people she wants on the block.
Wow. Okay.
But the person she trusts the most, of course, is Vince. And so she pulls him in immediately. And she calls him in
She's like, mm-hmm. Oh, Vince? You mean my Vince? Yeah. My number 1? Okay.
in front of everyone, too.
Oh no,
Like,
in front. She made a statement in week 1. This is where Rachel
She's already correcting him.
was like, this. Because this is why I thought Rachel did not like Vince, is because Lauren.
Yeah, because Rachel was like, why is everyone following this unemployed man? Why do you guys all kiss his butt? Why are you guys all protecting him? It doesn't make any sense.
And week 1 said that she was going to have to, or no, sorry, not week 1. After she got this,
And if she said it about Lauren, she meant it about you too, Morgan.
this is when she said, I have to consult Vince.
Yep.
Which like insinuated like, hey, he's basically controlling all of my moves. And that's when Rachel was like, okay, Vince is a problem. So yeah, kind of wild that she kind of did that in front of everyone for sure.
Yes, it was very wild. And also, I believe at this point, I think it
don't
was
have
prior
any
to
phones
this the HOH.
I feel like even Taryn's doubting himself. I've never seen him. He's like, I think this is prior to, you feel free to correct me, prior to the HOH?
Which one? Yeah, Rachel had a
Yeah.
very funny moment. I think they included it in the episode. It was at the end of week 2. Vince and Lauren were talking strategy like in the bedroom, and she was cleaning the house, and so she just walked in cleaning that. Oh, sorry guys, I hope I'm not interrupting. Like, oh no, not at all. And they left, and they went to go into like the wine room to continue their strategy.
Was just following them around from room to room.
They go up to the boxing gym, and
Right.
then like 30
Morgan's like, what are they doing in there? What were they wearing? Was he smiling?
The talk game. That's like the one place where I'm like, okay, if I really
We're gonna fast forward a little.
because you don't want to make enemies. And it was like, Vince, what are you doing? And so she goes and she asks Kelly, who of course does volunteer, and just like that, Ashley's off the block. And it was like, oh my God, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Wow,
That's insane.
Yeah, and then of course, she ends up sort of waffling on this decision, and she like right before the nominations, she wakes up the next morning and she's like, maybe I shouldn't do Adrian, because I didn't even bring up how Adrian gets involved, but
Well, Adrian was up. That was we noticed that Adrian was really trying to not be on the block. So he was the one person that 10 o'clock hit and he was in bed getting ready to go to sleep, passed out. He was in that HOH room until like 4:30 in the morning, and we found that to be extremely sus. That was the first thing I clocked. I'm like, first of all,
Yeah, a lot of people clocked it.
a good relationship. And every time he went up there, she was still up there with Vince. And he kept trying to talk to them, but like couldn't get in. And so he was like, felt like he was being talk blocked, went down and talked to Zach and was like, Zach, what's up with Vince and Lauren? Are they like I'm getting a little worried. And then Zach went
Like, she's like, what do you mean? What's up with Vince and Lauren?
right upstairs and told them about it, and was like, hey, Adrian's down there, like skeptical of you guys. And so then like he finally got up there with Lauren to talk and was like, hey, what's going on with Vince? Like, is anything wrong? Like, what's happening? And so that was basically that night. But then of course Vince really tried, because he
Did you notice on Morgan's bed? I just noticed this after we watched the Vince unboxing. Look at the blanket that's on her bed. She's using the boner blanket too. You can't convince me they're not talking.
he was trying to basically deflect off of like this narrative that he was controlling Lauren's HOH. So he very actively was trying to use the story of, hey, Adrian was up there all night. I didn't have anything to do with it. What was Adrian saying? What kind of deal did he make with her? And he didn't make any deal. He was literally just trying to have a conversation with her. It was very, of course, didn't really ultimately work out for Vince in that way. But that was definitely.
Morgan's like, are we still talking about Lauren? Tell me when it's over.
Yeah, Vince special, that one.
Oh, good for him. Honestly, it's a good move because it's like people literally looked at Adrian being like, you're always asleep at 10. You're still up and you're up late. Like not just like a 1 a.m. No, you're up late, like where no one's getting any sleep. And that was something where I was like, okay, because I had already had my eyes on Adrian as a target, or like as someone to not essentially pitch, because I never after I pitched Riley with Jimmy.
Yeah, they each had their own boner blanket, but they each are now using the boner blanket still.
I was like, okay, I'm not going to pitch anybody else. I'm going to kind of see what people are suggesting. And I just kind of went off of that. And luckily he was a suggestion. So I was able just to go into my one-on-one with Lauren being like, okay, so like, I've heard, because I would kind of like shape conversations already as if like, oh, like I heard that your options are Ashley and Adrian. Like, let's go over pros and cons. And I kind of approached
Let's get the M&Ms out
that way because I knew that Lauren was very indecisive. And so I felt like if I was able to kind of weigh pros and cons with her, but kind of do a little bit more pros of Adrian going on the block than Ashley, it could potentially work for us to get Adrian up. Because my whole mission was getting Adrian up on the block. Like, obviously, it would have been great if Ashley didn't, but like my main focus was making sure Adrian was on that block because he was much more of a threat to me than Ashley was. And like I said, this was before, Ashley and I had like a pretty good game relationship. So for me, I was like, I don't really know much about Adrian. And I know at least how he almost won that veto. He almost won that HOH. He's on the other side of things. He's connected to Kelly and Keanu, who are big targets. He was my main focus. I was like, as long as Adrian goes up on the block or, whatever, then I have had a successful like campaign for the week.
Thank you.
Yeah. And so from my perspective, at least, part of the reason why Adrian was even involved in the conversation, well, one is because he was on the block the week before and you guys are pushing him. But like the reason why he was being considered was because of that night when he talked to Zach about being weirded out by Vince and Lauren's relationship. That I think that like just put a little seed into Vince of like, maybe I shouldn't try too hard to protect Adrian because I don't know if I can fully trust him because he expressed some doubt about me.
Right.
And then ultimately, I would say this strategy of trying to use that night to make Adrian seem like he had more influence over Lauren's HOH than him, it did end up backfiring because it just gave you and everyone else more ammo against Adrian, which is also ultimately not in his interest. But yeah, it was very interesting, that whole thing. But yeah, so Kelly volunteers for the initial nominee. Will is an option because despite being in the Bond Alliance with Lauren, they haven't had a meeting since week 1 because it was basically made just to keep Zay.
What do you mean, right?
And they've never like spoken to each other in like 3 weeks.
Right, they haven't spoken at all. I knew that from Will, where because he.
Okay, well, okay. Darren just said that. Okay, and then she's like, and I know that, and here's how I know that, but we don't need to know how you know that because it doesn't help us with the deep dive.
And so yeah, and so she started like reconsidering
Morgan
the Will nomination in the morning, and started going back to Ashley, and then was like, or maybe I should just do Adrian now, and like was freaking. She was having like one-on-one meetings in the wine room. I tell this story because I love it, but at one point she would like just walks out of the wine room like she's on The Walking Dead, just like
yeah.
Can somebody talk to me about what should I do?
Right. Yeah, I think her getting the week 3 HOH, I think she was really excited because obviously she was like a big fan of Big Brother and like, winning an HOH is awesome, especially if like that time. But I think because we had one extra person and it was a high pressure situation. And obviously, she was more of like our like introverted kind of quiet players, depending on who she spoke to. So I think she was definitely really nervous to like upset people. I think that was her biggest thing. She didn't want to make enemies because she wanted to make it further in the game. Which that's what I was saying. Luckily for me, I mean, when Rachel told me that Lauren was like, oh, I have to consult Vince, I actually like inside was like smiling and super happy about this. I'm like, oh, like Vince and I are close. So if he's controlling Lauren's HOHs, I mean, I can, chat with Vince and make sure that like essentially what he's maybe singing to her is coming from me. And then we're all singing along and it's just going to be a happy song. So I wasn't too upset about them working together.
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? We had a whole month conversations. We didn't get sleep because of his relationship with Lauren, because of Vince and Lauren. Morgan's like, I didn't even care. Well, I'm sorry, what?
I don't understand. I don't understand, bitch. I don't understand. I don't understand, bitch.
To look at
You're lying. No. Girl, you cared more than anybody. Lauren was the enemy because of Zeki and Vincey and any attention they gave. Like, why are we doing this?
Especially that week. But yeah, very, very happy. Like when she put up Adrian, I think that was great for my game.
No. You wanted to provoke
she's doing
me?
it for herself or what?
Provoked.
Provoke now.
Of course, the veto is won by Keanu, which means they will need a replacement nominee.
Yeah.
It's at this point in the game that Keanu is now in this world where he's got his like brigade style alliance with Vince and Riley.
Right. Oh, so pathetic.
The Unexpendables, and he's got his whole side of the house, which includes Adrian and Lauren and Catherine and everything else.
I cringe for Keanu. I cringe.
And he believes that that at this point that it's you. He believes in like you, Zach, and Mickey, or no, sorry, not Zach because he was a man. But you and Mickey and Morgan and Rachel and like all of these people and Ashley, like you guys were basically the people against him. But he saw Rachel as at the bottom of that group, and he saw Jimmy as at the bottom of that group, and so he felt like he could start pulling them into his like orbit more. And so he started having these conversations like, hey, you should come to our side. And
Taryn, keep going really fast. Power through it.
Rachel and Jimmy both were basically like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
You should come to our side.
But, snacking. Hurry up. Talk faster.
But he, of course, didn't really listen.
Get to week 5, 6, 7.
And so he's doing that. And there's also more progress being made.
She's still chewing. There's time.
With from Ashley's end of like, Mickey is really starting to doubt her relationship with you, and the whole thing with Zach and Vince. And there's all kinds of like things just kind of like splitting apart. And they eventually like, I don't go too deep on it because like it eventually
don't go deep.
Just kind of solidifies back
I know
together.
it's a deep dive, but keep it shallow.
When Mickey gets the HOH next week. But there was a lot of fractured things happening here, where like Vince and Zach were kind of like, they were talking about like, who do we rather go with, Lauren or Morgan? And they were like,
oh God, this is not gonna be good.
We're kind of leaning Lauren right now. And meanwhile, Mickey was kind of feeling like, I don't know if I can trust Morgan because she's too close to Zach and Vince. And it was like, it was starting to look like things were unraveling, even as you guys were getting your way. And then again, like it doesn't end up doing much because by the following week, you've pulled Zach and Vince back in, you've pulled Mickey back in, and it's all fine. But there was a moment here where it was like, this is really starting to come apart.
Right. Because I knew that, like, I had a couple of conversations with Zach and Vince the first 3 weeks, and their common denominator was Lauren. They were very adamant, like, hey, if we can at least get Lauren to jury, she'll be a vote for us. Like, they were very adamant about Lauren. So I was very familiar that they were very pro Lauren, wanted to work with her. And I was totally fine with that.
Wait a minute. Wait, what?
I know that at one point, they were like kind of entertaining, like maybe bringing her in on a 4th. And I was like, well, we're already an open trio. So if we are going to work with her, I don't think being open and putting her in this 4th thing would be even better for us. Cause we're already a known trio. If we add a 4th, then it's like,
we're not adding her. Okay. We already have a girl. We have one girl, only one girl. Okay. 2 boys are the bread. I'm the meat. That's it. The sandwich is done. We don't need cheese. We don't need mayo. We need bread and some meat. Thank you, DGF. Like number 242. Can we hit 337 likes, you guys?
we're just going to be targeted. We're going to be the renoms. Like, let's not make that any worse than it is. But yeah, I definitely knew that they were very, very pro Lauren. Because I mean, like I would ask them like, hey, like, cause I remember one time I'd asked Zach, this is when the heavy hitters was still around. I was like, if it came down to the alliance versus Lauren, like, who are you gonna be more loyal to? Cause I know that like you guys have like a connection and stuff, but there's also,
I know that you have like a connection. He was literally in love with her, obsessed, weird, creepy, scary. He was like, she was put here for me. She was meant for me and I was meant for her. Like he was creepy about it.
An alliance, and he was like, no, I want to play the game. And the same thing with Vince. Vince was very diehard for the alliance. So I never really kind of let it get to me. I was like, okay, cool. Like they find value in her. I'm not going to like harp on it because like I have value in people that they're not super close with. So like, who am I to sit there and be like, no, I don't think you should work with her or whatever. So that was kind of like my thing.
And you know, it because again, like I think at this point, I think it was around this point that I started saying,
we are at capacity for girls. There can be one and only one. And I am the one. Okay. It's like Slayers, even though later that theory will be disproven because Buffy is a feminist and she finds a way to include all the women and empower them. But initially there was only one girl in all the world.
I might start losing my voice here because I was yelling a lot instead.
Because this is just too much.
Francisco. I think at this point I was saying
Aaron was yelling and screaming when he found out he had to do this deep dive. He was hoping she was just going to cancel because there was like a list of stipulations.
Because this was around the time of the renom, and there was a huge push from you and Mickey and Rachel and Ashley, of course, and Jimmy, all pushing really hard to keep Ashley off the block. And it was incredibly effective. It was one of the most impressive kind of like organized campaigns of the entire season, because there was no world where Lauren should have nominated Adrian, just not even remotely. There was no reason for her to do it. She was basically sacrificing one of her own pieces to gain favor with a side that had her at best like number like 8. Like it was just,
bottom of the totem pole for sure.
Not the right move at all. Nor was it, and from my perspective, it was even worse for Vince, because for Vince, it was like you can make this move, and for as much as they're trying to attach you to it, it's still Lauren's move, not yours.
Right.
And also, Vince, you didn't need to be spending 10 hours a day with her to make yourself look so attached to her.
Right.
Taryn snuck that one in. Oh my god. Right. 10 hours? Yeah, I know. I thought they were together too long too, Taryn.
So
so true. I used to joke. I'm like, dude, because I had told him really early. I was like, you realize that you have 17-hour one-on-ones. Like, people are clocking that you are in these one-on-ones for 17 hours. Like, you are going to be targeted. I'm hearing that you're being like talked about, because I had heard it from Mickey. So I never told him names. And I was trying to.
Morgan would be at the door like, hello, hi. Are you done? Are you done? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. Can you leave? Can you get out? We need this room.
Do that to protect him, because I felt like a lot of value in his game.
Is that what it was? Is that what it was?
That's my opinion.
And so I was trying to help him. So obviously, that eventually like worked, but it's still like, temporarily speaking, it's like,
What if Vince is under the bed listening? He's like, I like where it's cozy. I'm scared. I'll listen under the bed.
Her putting up Adrian also was not great for her game, but it worked for a lot of us. And I think the angle that I really like focused on for that was just, again, like, Adrian almost won that HOH. He almost beat Casey, the comp beast. Like, Lauren she had won an HOH already.
Not Casey, the comp beast.
She had done basement break-in and had the second best time. So I was really leaning on the fact that, like, you are a great competitor. You going against this guy who could potentially beat you is not going to be beneficial for the long run, versus somebody else where, at that time, Ashley had only won one veto. She competed.
I wonder if Taryn tells her, like, do you know that Vince said, and they laughed about you not knowing that Lauren was in fact his number one? I don't know.
In basement break-in, didn't make the top 3. So like, I had a lot of valid arguments for Lauren's. What I tried to do in each of my like campaigning
is you would tell people, I would put you on my block, and they would be like, I'm sorry. That's what Morgan would do. She would tell people, well, I would put you go on my block. Like, why? And she didn't even win HOH. So it's like, why would you tell people that?
Aspects was like, take myself out of my game and put myself in their shoes and try to make it make sense for their game, which essentially was like working for my game. I tried to like wing those kinds of angles. And so I think that's like what really helped that week. And it luckily saved Ashley, because her going up just wouldn't have made sense. Like, I mean, like I said, at that time, her and I weren't super connected. But she was a number for our side. And the last thing I wanted to lose was a number for our side, for sure.
Yeah. And so
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
It was around this time that like we were watching Vince and Zach and Lauren, all 3 of them essentially just being disarmed, just kind of like being outplayed, in the sense that like you guys were pushing and they were like, we feel like we should be pushing back, but we're gonna continue to kind of like drop the fight. And that was, I wouldn't say frustrating for me, but it was like, I was very much just like, this shouldn't be happening. You guys have the power. You are in control right now. You have the HOH. You have the numbers to send home whoever you want. Why are you allowing people to convince you to take out one of your own potential numbers? And it was at this point that they were talking about like, who was our true final 3? Is it with Lauren or is it with Morgan? And I was like, I think that they are not going to get anywhere in this game if they don't have Morgan. Like, I saw this as
Taryn, you stop, Taryn. You stop.
I don't have any votes now.
Taryn. And I knew they weren't going to get anywhere without Morgan.
You can go, little girl.
Taryn.
The second that you align your interests with Vince and Zach, or Vince or Zach as it became,
right,
that's when things will start to fall into place.
Right.
Because you have the push. You have like the active playing the
right. I mean, Taryn's not wrong in the sense that like Morgan was an active player, and in so many ways Lauren was not, and found it pretty impossible to make decisions and pull the trigger and all the stuff.
The gumption to actually make things happen, where they just didn't.
He is just feeding her. She's like, yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah. I told them I was the better choice.
And as long as you were at odds with them in terms of like the incentives that you had in the game, they couldn't get anywhere. And I think that really played out. And so they ultimately lose this battle. Lauren puts Adrian on the block, and then immediately starts thinking, wait, we do have the votes to still keep Adrian. We have the votes to tie it, and then I can break the tie to keep Adrian. And Vince was...
No, Dave, don't eat that. We need a Buffy break. Buffy went to the groomers today. And we said, short everywhere. Oh, you look gorgeous and you smell delicious. You smell delicious, girl. Look at this cutie booty. Oh, little cutie. Oh, little cutie. Oh, my goodness, I missed you. I missed you, sweet girl. Oh, did you have fun? Oh, you look so beauteous. You look gorgeous. Dave, what do you think? She looks gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. What about you, Teddy? Go tell your sister she looks so gorgeous. You're beautiful, Buffy. She's beautiful. Her hair gets so long. She's like a Westie Poo mix. So we were trying to, for a long time, have our groomer do, the long on top, but it grows so fast. And then if we can't get her in for an appointment, if they're kind of backed up, then it like gets in her little eyes and she can't see. And I feel so bad. It was all in her eyes. Buffy, you're so cute. I love you. Oh, you're such a good girl. Oh my goodness. She smells so good. I needed that little break. Thank you, Buffy. I love you. Rebecca, thank you so much for the super chat. Rebecca says, Taryn must be checking off the boxes of Morgan stipulation rider. Yeah, it's her rider. So many M&Ms, so many questions about this or that, so many compliments. Yes. Oh my goodness. All my doogies are here. Oh. Taryn, we see you.
Very worried about this because he was like, well, you just gained a lot of favor by putting Adrian on the block. We'll ruin all that favor by sending him home. And of course,
well, since you asked, Princess Goose, Dave Dog is our tripod. Our black lab mix is Teddy and Buffy. Buffy the Anxiety Slayer is the little white dog you saw. And then we have two kitty producers, producer Prince and producer Cordelia. So yeah, Dave Dog. We love Dave Dog. We love everybody. We love all the furs.
the main thing is that he didn't want to get in trouble with you and with like the house in general.
Right.
And so him and Zach start thinking like, okay, if we can get other people to vote with us, then it won't be our fault.
Right.
And so they start pitching to Rachel. They start pitching to Jimmy, and they're not exposing their position. They're just kind of feeling them out. It becomes very obvious that Rachel and Jimmy are not going to go anywhere near keeping Adrian. Right. They also talk to you about it. They try to keep it. They try to prevent you from knowing that they're trying to get you to vote this way. But you also make it obvious that you are not going to be going in that direction. And so they're starting to run out of options.
Right. Yeah. I just never understood their angle because Zach's angle was like, just the same thing would say. I really want someone who's going to be a good competitor and can compete and da-da-da. And my mind is like, but he's not working with us. So why are we keeping a good competitor if he's not working with us? So I started wondering, especially because I obviously ended up later learning, I think the following week, that like Adrian had told Zach about like what Mickey said. So that was the first moment where I was like, God, you guys are pushing this so hard. It makes me think that you guys are working with him. Like, because why else would you fight so hard to keep somebody who's sitting next to someone like Amy, who was going to be easily beat in the game? I just never understood that. So I'm like, the only logical explanation is that you guys have some sort of something. I don't mean, it may not be an alliance, but you guys at least like him enough to where you're campaigning-ish to keep him.
Yep.
And that's when I was like just pushing harder as far as like, okay, so you're telling me that you want to play against somebody who almost...
Taryn's like, yep, okay. I gotta go potty again.
Won the HOH, won the veto. Like, what are we talking about? Like, this just doesn't make sense. You know, it just genuinely did not make sense to me. I was like, that doesn't make sense.
And then they go to Ava and they full send it with Ava. They fully say like, Ava of all people to have like gone in on, and granted, to be fair to them, Ava didn't tell anybody on purpose about this. But they pitched to Ava that they want to vote Will out, and that she should vote Will out. And their hope is that if Ava agrees to do it, then it won't be a tie. It will be a majority vote, whatever, right? Ava, of course, says, frankly, I don't think that's a good idea.
Right. Because it's like when...
Frankly, I don't miss that at all. No offense, all offense to Ava, but oh God, girl. I do not miss the frankly. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Previously on Ava saying frankly. Nobody misses it and everybody hopes it never comes back. That's so weird.
You're going against someone like Will. It's like I said, it's the same thing with like Amy. Like Will was, I think he had a much better social game than Amy, but at the same time, he was not going, like the chances of beating him in physical competitions were going to be very easy. So again, it was still the angle of like,
rude.
If it came down to Will and Adrian, why is that even a question? Like, what are we talking about? Like, why are you guys asking me like, oh, well, with Adrian versus Will? I'm like, there's literally no there's no argument here. I'm so
And
confused.
a big thing too that seems to get through to Zach and Vince was like, yeah, I was thinking about it. Like, do you really want to associate yourself with Keanu?
Exactly. Yes.
They're like, oh,
damn, Keanu's still catching strays. Dang.
I feel so lost right now.
wow, we really don't. And so they woke up the next morning. They talked to Ava about it again. And they approached Lauren, who said, guys, I thought about it. I'm down. I want to break the tie to evict Will. And Vince and Zach were like, we talked to Ava. We're actually thinking not anymore.
Yeah.
And just like it was so close, but then it fell that way. And of course, so all the while, Riley and Catherine and Keanu and Kelly were all expecting Zach and Vince to vote with them all the way up to the eviction and are blindsided when it doesn't happen.
Well, it makes sense when they were congregating and stuff. I remember Mickey came up to me. She was frantic. She's like, what's going on over there? In my head, like I felt super comfortable after speaking with them that they were going to vote out Adrian. So I was like, it's fine. And also like Vince and I were really close. So I was like, nah, he's not going to do that. Like, there's just no way. It doesn't make sense. But I was just telling her that because I'm like, ooh, if they do that, then like we're in for a treat. But that was the first time we actually saw before the eviction. We saw a bunch of people really trying to chat and potentially flip votes. Like I was sitting down because I knew where I was voting. So I was like, okay, you guys can have a chat. But yeah, that was definitely the first blindside for like that side of the house. And that was probably the hardest, or like the hardest eviction by that point was week 3. Cause like, you know, Adrian's speech was really touching. Will got really emotional. I think that just like attests to how like, no matter how many days you could be in the house, you can feel for people. Like, you know, Zach was, you know, upset about Zay on day 10. So I was like, dang, this is like really hard. And seeing like Adrian get emotional, seeing Ava react, because Ava reacted very emotionally. I was like, okay, this one was hard for Ava. She was, I don't know if she was working with them, but it was hard.
Ava knew that she was the reason the vote didn't happen. She knew that if she had agreed to vote Will out, that Adrian would have stayed. And so I think she felt especially like responsible for him
Makes
leaving.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
that
it
was
was, go ahead.
Is it me? Is it me? Me?
I was just saying that was I think that was also the point when it really brought Mickey to a huge discomfort about Zach and Vince because they were congregating and trying to campaign from what it looked like. I remember I had asked Vince and he said that he wasn't, but I mean at the end of the day, Adrian.
Because Vince lied to you. He's a liar. He lied to you. Yes, he lies. Yes, he lies.
Adrian still left. So I was like, if this guy's lying to me, I really don't care because Adrian still left. So I'm not going to like, because the way I was moving in the house was like, whether someone lied to me or not, if what I wanted got done,
I am not buying it.
Water under the bridge. Like, I really don't care because why am I going to argue about something that.
Girl, you love to argue. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Is done.
Yeah.
But
you and Vince like perfected the arguing. It was like your foreplay.
Mickey, she was very adamant about like, well, why were they talking? Do you think they were trying to flip the vote? And in my head, I'm like, well, if they were, who cares? It didn't happen. You know what I mean? But that was definitely like very high tension because, like I said, Ava's like reactions and everyone after that. That was the first time where I was like, huh, why is everyone like so upset? You know, like I mean, at least on our side of things, like so that was kind of a very interesting experience.
Well, and this is, I think, an interesting point about your game because we've already talked about it in regards to
glaze. Let's glaze her. Let's tell her how great she is.
To Ashley to some degree. Like Ashley was caught talking about you, and yet you were like, that doesn't matter because like I have a specific goal, right? Like I'm not going to let that interfere with like the direction that I'm going in. And I think this is another example of that like there are moments where, yeah, there are some inconsistencies, there are some problems. And obviously it's important to note those. It's important to recognize and make sure that you don't get screwed over. But for you at the very least, like at the end of the day, you were always able to pull, say, Vince in the direction that you needed him to go. You were able to, without even realizing it, I guess, convince Zach not to use his veto power, where you probably would have gone up on the block in his place.
Are we going to tell her the truth about the veto power? Is she going to find out? Has anyone seen this whole thing? Can someone tell me that he ultimately tells her the truth about the veto power? And that he didn't not use it to save her? That was a lie? The lie detector determined that was a lie? That it was an urban legend?
It's an urban legend that never happened.
He does tell her that eventually, right? Right?
You know, it's funny. He didn't even tell me that till after the veto ceremony. He did not disclose his power till after. And so...
Well, I don't like Facebook. And I don't like the internet.
Are you sure, you guys? Are you sure? Are you sure? Oh, no. No, Taryn, no. Please tell me you told her. Please. Please tell me you told her.
You're terrible, Muriel.
Please. Please. Please.
When he told me, you know, the only thing that I actually felt was like, one, I was like, okay, so you're willing to not use a veto to protect me, which my first.
What? That's not true. She keeps saying this and it's not true.
First thing is like, okay, cool. That means he's down for the alliance. Like he's whatever. But I also felt a lot of guilt because I was like, damn, like this is Big Brother. Like, no offense. If it was me, my ass would have used that veto 100 times out of, like, you know what I mean? I was going to use the veto no matter what. So that was like the first time where I was like, because I trusted Vince far more than I trusted Zach. And I had a much better relationship with Vince than I did Zach. So when he told me that, I was like, huh, okay, like this is good. Like now I'm feeling more comfortable moving forward. However, obviously those two were on the block. The veto wasn't used. He didn't use his veto. Therefore, his veto was no longer worth it unless he got off the block and could use it further down. But yeah, finding out that power was quite interesting and it actually made me think if Jimmy had a power, because I don't know, to have a $10,000 essential veto
Could be more egregious? What could be more misleading than that?
Crazy. I was like,
that is
what is Big Brother doing?
Wildly imbalanced. We'll talk more about Zach, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I just
Do it now. Tell her now, Taryn. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Tell her now, Taryn, please. God, I can't listen to her say this again. She said it so many times. Well, I mean, people say I was obsessed with Zach, but he was going to use his veto, you know, or he didn't use his veto to save me. So I don't know.
like, I feel like there is a desire, perhaps, from some fans to be like, to
Hey, be nice, guys.
see all of the ways that you were wronged and to
Well, just tell her the truth. You don't you don't have to tell her that she's wrong. You just have to tell her what really happened. The truth. The truth.
there is
Hey, what are you guys doing? Hey, no. Okay, come on. Everybody sit. Good job. All right. Don't mess with each other. Everyone stay in their own little spaces.
a desire, perhaps, from some fans to be like, to see all of the ways that you were wronged and to want you to like be like, oh man, screw that person for doing that, or like
A little. Well, I mean, because she's believing something that's blatantly like just not true. Like, just tell her.
whatever, right? And I actually think it was part of the strength of your game, even just to like to make it like about the strategy here, that you were somebody that always like was able to let it roll off your back and didn't really indulge in it. And maybe some people feel like they just want you to recognize it more or whatever, but like,
For sure.
I think it's an interesting part of your game that you didn't let these things, whether they were small slights or big things, impact the direction that you wanted to go in the game. Because again, you had a vision of where you wanted to go, and you just kind of like grabbed people by the collar and just pulled them.
Let's go.
Yes, I see what Taryn's saying. I see in ways in which Morgan did that, but can we just tell her some of the things that she believes to be true that are not true, and that's okay? Just like they did for Keanu. He told Keanu all the stuff. Okay, like Keanu was like, "Dang, I don't even think I was in the." There was one point in the Keanu deep dive where Keanu was like, "Oh God, I didn't even know I was." Hey, you guys, come on. Was I playing the same game? I really didn't know anything. And here we can't even say that, no, Zach lied to you. He lied.
Oh, guys.
They were like, they were like, I'm trying to stab you in the back, Morgan. And you're like, that's fine, but you're coming this way.
Right. Yeah.
And that's, I think, such an interesting way to play that not a lot of people feel like it is possible. Because it's like, well, if somebody's scheming against you, you should be taking them out. But again, as I mentioned, during this week, Zach and Vince are basically saying, we're going to choose Lauren over Morgan. But at the end of the day, who did they actually choose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's something there, right? That like, you don't have to accept the betrayal. You can kind of be like, all right, try to stab me all you want. But if I need you in this game for a particular reason, and I feel like I can use you to go in this direction, there's something there. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I know after the Adrian eviction, like I had talked to them and obviously like knew where their vote was at and stuff. I'm pretty sure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they both kept Will.
They did both keep Will, yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
So I talked to them and, I was like, we kind of talked it over and I was just like, obviously like they understood my angle. Like now, was that the reason why they did? No, I mean, like I remember finding out later, Keanu had told me that like, Zach just didn't want Lauren to break the tie and all that other stuff. I'm like, hey, whatever the reason is, I don't care. Adrian left. That's exactly what I wanted, because he was going to be a competition threat. I don't know about socially because I think his social game kind of like started a little bit slower, but regardless, his competition threat was a thing. And I mean, he was well liked. People did say how they loved how honest he was and these things. And I'm just like, okay, like this is just, I just always paid attention to what people said. I focused a lot in the very early games on my social game. I was chatting with people. Like I was in the kitchen with Rachel and Mickey, like kind of doing laundry, like doing the normal stuff that I do in my life. Like I love to clean. I love to cook.
She does love to clean. She does love to cook. And she did do that for people.
And just chatting with people to kind of see what little seeds that they can give me. So I can, like I said, keep it kind of in my arsenal. It's kind of like ammo, the way I look at it. Like if I'm playing a video game, I'm, collecting my ammo, collecting my shields, my syringes, just kind of keeping a little bit of everything. But yeah, I know when after that eviction, I just didn't want the guys to feel like
Call each other names and stuff and, make jokes like, oh my God, Shmay, you've got your period or something. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm just like this all the time. I wanted someone who was good at pretty much everything. And like, because it's going to be on the news and on TV and stuff, like, I don't want to brag, but I think they wanted someone decent looking.
Oh, okay, like, cool, Adrian's gone, now let's keep moving. I was just like, I really leaned in on like, hey, I know he was your friend. Like, I know that wasn't an easy vote. Like, and I really relied on still nourishing those friendships with them and still making them be like, hey, I understand. Like, it's a game. You guys are now losing another friend. First it was Zay, now it's Adrian. Like, but this is going to be better because it's one less person that we have to, like, more so you guys, because these are two guys leaving. So it's like, you guys don't have to compete as hard well, not as hard, but like, we're getting rid of these targets. Like we're surviving yet another week. Like we are doing the right thing. And like our trio was still really solid.
Tell me if I'm interpreting this wrong, but it sounds to me like what you're saying is that like, despite the fact that you had a little bit of like there's something going on there, you didn't care to sort of like investigate. You wanted to just kind of like be like, hey, I know that was hard, making sure they're still on your side. Right. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, because I know when Zach had initially said like, hey, Adrian told me, that Mickey said this. It's like those kinds of, the reason why I never really was like, hey, so like, why were you campaigning for Adrian? Like, were you guys really trying to flip the vote? Because I'm like, what does that do, Morgan? Like, Adrian's already gone. If you try to make them feel like, oh, I can't believe you were going to try to do this anyway, they're gonna be like, who's this girl talking to me like this? Like, so I just wanted to make sure that they still looked at me as like, okay, Morgan, regardless of where our vote was week 1, even week 2, like she's still riding with us. Like she's still making it clear, like this alliance is everything to her. Cause like, that was one thing I always made sure before we went to sleep. Like we were trying to think of a name, which we ended up thinking of a name, but I don't think it ever aired, but like it took us forever to think of a name.
It was a baseball related thing, right?
Football. It was the strong side. We got it from the Remember the Titans. I was telling them like there was a moment in the movie and I was like, yeah, we're the strong side. And they loved it.
They loved it. They loved my idea, guys.
And so, yeah, to me, like that was the thing. Cause like I tried to.
They loved it. Strong side football. Yeah. They loved it.
Look at the whole game as a perspective of like, okay, I'm coming in to obviously play my own game, but I'm working with other people.
But I'm obviously also working with my showman's partner, Vince.
So are others going to do that too?
But first, Zach. But he was into Lauren, allegedly.
Yes. And who am I to sit there and be like, oh, you wanted to do what I would have done? Like, if I was them, I would have thought personally too. So I tried to just be as like empathetic and understanding as possible, but still kind of leaning on the whole, like, hey guys, like we're still doing really great. Like, let's keep moving forward. Our alliance is still strong. Like I kept sharing more information with them. So they felt even more comfortable after like letting go of Adrian, even like, just anything that they talked about, even if it was Lauren, I was like, yeah, she's a great competitor. I just always wanted them to feel comfortable with them sharing information with me. So they.
Sorry, what?
These hating ass bitches.
Okay. I was just really positive when it came to Lauren. I just wanted them to know that I supported their love for Lauren. And I was fine with that. I was totally fine.
I never thought for a second, like, oh, I don't know if we can trust Morgan anymore.
I love this approach, and I don't think it works for most players because I think it can only really work if you.
For you. Good. She must have left this deep dive feeling so good. Oh my goodness. It wouldn't work for most players, but it works for you, special girl.
You are the driving force of a season.
Taryn just told her she was the driving force of the season.
I'm bored with it. Like I'm over it.
And I don't think Morgan was as bad as many of the other players, at all. But wow. She's like, why did I wait to do this? This is awesome.
Because otherwise you do have to be, I think, extra cautious about where people are leading you. But because you were doing the leading.
Kelly also evicted you.
It did behoove you to kind of like overlook faults or
Right.
you know, whatever, because, you know, perfect is the enemy of good. And
I do like that quote. Perfect is the enemy of good.
you needed a good alliance, right? You needed a good path to
Right.
the end.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean,
Right, I'm a leader, duh.
obviously, I'm not sitting here saying like, "Oh, I saw every single thing. I'm just this," like,
Yeah.
I just some things that I'm like that's why I told Mickey, I'm like, look, if they did try to flip the vote, it didn't work. So like water under the bridge, girl, like it's me and you still, like lock it in. Who fucking cares? Like if we really need to go back to it, like because what I did is I just took notes of things. So I was like, okay, cool. They tried to potentially flip the vote. Let me put that in the back of my head. So that way in the future, if I see that again, then
I will throw that in their face and we will be up in the HOH room fighting about it for weeks.
might press a little harder. Or I might be like, oh, well, that reminds me of week 2 when, you know, I just kept receipts and then brought them out when I really needed to use them. And if I didn't, then I'm like, okay, I'm just discarding the receipt and move on to the next.
Yeah. All right. So we get to week 4.
You're amazing.
Keanu and Riley and Catherine have just been blindsided, and Kelly have just been blindsided. And Vince immediately goes to work doing damage control, and he throws Zach completely under the bus. He says, "It's Zach's fault. Zach wouldn't vote with me, so I knew the numbers wouldn't be there, and so I didn't vote. It was all because of Zach. I couldn't get Zach to come with me, and that's why Keanu and Riley and them were still fine with Vince, and we're so mad at Zach. And meanwhile, Zach went with the line they were supposed to say, which was they were doing it for Lauren.
That's so funny. Which it actually worked in Vince's favor because Keanu was pissed about that. I remember when he explained that to me later in the game. He was like, I can't believe he gave a lame excuse and da-da-da. I mean, to be honest, Vince saying that like kind of worked for him, to be honest, because it made Zach the enemy. Like I had learned that week that Keanu did not like Zach. And I was like, oh, okay, this is good. Like, this is good for me because now like people that could potentially be on that side of things, like maybe he's going to now start coming this way. Cause like I knew that they were very much in the middle because we always talked about, like their relationship with Keanu. So like after the whole like issue that Keanu and I had, they were always giving me information about what Keanu was saying. Every single thing that Keanu would tell them about me, they always told me. So I was always like one step ahead of Keanu, at least as far as knowing like what he was saying about me, if he wanted me out. Like I remember there was one time specifically where we were all hanging out in the wine room and I left and they ended up telling me later, Keanu was like, she's gotta go. And I'm like, they told me every single time. So I was grateful for that because I was always at least aware of certain people that I knew for a fact, if they were to win HOH, I was going to be on block. So I was always like mentally preparing for a couple weeks ahead for sure.
Yeah, I feel, and you know, obviously I have some criticisms for Vince's game, but I think this was his most successful damage control. It was sort of like the
Tell us the criticisms. I'm ready, Taryn.
peak of his style of doing damage.
This feels a little like toxic positivity. Does anyone else feel? I feel it's like a little toxic positivity. Thank you, Gigi, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Or for the YouTube membership. I appreciate that. You sweetie. And thank you for the Cash App. I was going to say, because you sent me a Cash App. Thank you, Gigi. You sweetie.
Damage control, which is, you know, because he was going up to Riley like, I feel like such a weasel, and you're like a real man, and I look up to you. I wish I could be more like you, Riley, and like really playing up to their egos and really just like throwing Zach. And this was him, I think, at his best in terms of like he did really get away with this. I think part of the issue is that like it only kind of works really well once, and then when you try it again, it's like, wait,
is this a pattern? Right? Is this a pattern, or is this like, yeah, for sure?
But Riley wins this HOH, and of course.
That HOH, can we talk about that HOH first of all? That was insane. I mean, I was excited for the bounce.
Oh, what's wrong, teddy bear? What are you doing? Go tell dad. Go tell dad. Go get dad. What are you guys doing? Go get dad. Yeah, go get him. She paid him an M&M's.
Beam, I was not.
Oh God, I don't really want to talk about this HOH. I don't want to talk about any comps, just strategy, social, gossip, messy. Oh,
so well. And like even better than I living with her gave her credit for.
Oh my gosh, my hand on accident put it to Rachel.
It works really well once, and then when you try it again, it's like, wait.
We talk about that HOH first of all. That was Mickey, Rachel, but we didn't have enough time because
Oh my God, it's just skipping.
And I was like, okay, like game on. Like now you wanna like I said, you wanna poke the bear? Like let's go. You know, I was enraged. Like now,
that there was like two sides of the house that he was on one side and you guys were on the other. So it was like,
but it was crazy because I don't know how they filmed it. But like the first time he was like, yeah, he goes, you know, Mickey, Morgan, Ashley, Will, have a seat. And we're all like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, and so it was crazy because I'm like, okay, like now that was the first time that I was like, okay, like game on. Like now you wanna like I said, you wanna poke the bear? Like, let's go. You know, I was enraged.
Yes, and then of course we have this moment.
I get to choose. I'm the legend.
Okay, this was the first time that I looked at Rachel and was like, oh my God, I think I love her. Like, not like that, but I was like, oh my God, I have never been more like excited in my life when I saw her literally cling herself to him like a leech. I was like, oh my God, no wonder this girl's one big brother. I actually was like,
we're still talking about that dumb HOH. And the best part was Rachel clinging herself to Keanu and being like, I'm with him.
Because she told you about it, didn't tell anyone else. But the problem is that Zach, and you know this, I'm sure, Zach was right there. He basically heard Mickey get it and told a few people. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he had told me and Vince about that. And so when he first said that, I was like, shit, now I really have to go to work because I want this power for Mickey. Like, I want her to be able to have an HOH. We're going to need this in the game. If Zach actually talks too much or is close with the wrong people, it's not going to, because like there were some people that like, everyone knew I sucked at that comp. I got lost. Like literally I was like, hello, like, is anyone around? I got lost. People knew I was not near the end. And like you said, like Zach shared, like people knew Ava sat at the front. Jimmy had one HOH. So there were some people that they knew just automatically. It was like dropping like flies. So finding out who could potentially have it was actually a little bit easier. And that was kind of making me a little bit anxious because I'm like, the longer she waits to use this power, the more she's not going to be able to use it because it's just going to be the more people leave, process of elimination. The only other person that I was trying to really throw it on was Catherine. Because I was like, okay, like I thought Catherine was like a sleeper pick in a sense of like, she was really quiet, kind of mysterious. Like, but I'd heard her game talk when I was up in the HOH room when it was like Jimmy and Lauren up there. So I was like, okay, like she's gaming. I just don't think she's gaming with me, which means she's gaming with others. So I tried my best to deflect that. But I mean, Zach was spot on with that read. And I was worried.
Yeah, she said she loves Rachel, but not in like a sassy way. But she was like, oh my God,
like we cannot let this happen. So like, what can I do? And I was like, no, I was like, she would tell me. Like, I know she would tell me. And I would tell you guys if I knew. I just tried everything I could. I threw everything at them. Like, there's no way. Like, maybe she was helping because she couldn't find anything. I even said, I was like, there was one time I was up there and I didn't have anything and I was trying to help. So I just came up with as much as I could think of to make sure that they wouldn't actually pick Mickey.
Yeah. And so from our perspective, it was like literally everyone in the house knew that Mickey had the power. Like I would say most of them were like 90+% confident that Mickey had the power. Even Keanu had been basically told like Mickey probably has the power. And so we were like, this power is not going to work. It's just not going to work. And my only thing was, I actually think the investigation will make it a little more likely to work than the reverse because it will introduce a little bit more like information and doubt. And then my other thing was the only person that might not choose Mickey is Keanu.
Right. Yeah.
And so we all expected like Riley wins. We were like, even if Mickey does use the power,
they're going to guess it's her.
They're going to guess it's her and it's going to be even worse. And so basically there were people that like woke up the next morning and started going through the timeline like, oh, Riley's the HOH. Oh no. And then like hours later, Mickey's the HOH. And it was jubilant, the celebration.
It was incredible. I mean, I remember Mickey pulling me and she's like, can you find out what Riley's going to do? I was like, give me an assignment. I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? I was like, I needed to know as well. So I went directly, obviously, to the boys and I was like, what do we know? Like, what do we think? And I was obviously not playing it as like, oh guys, I need to know now. But I was like, hey, like, you know, what do you think Riley's going to do? Like, do you guys think I'm in trouble? You know, like, let's talk about it. Because obviously none of them had been on the block yet. So I was kind of trying to make it seem like, oh God, like, is this the first time one of our alliance members is going to go up? Like, you guys are closer with Riley. Like, let me know. I kind of played more on like a, not like a sympathetic level, but just kind of like, hey, like, what do you guys think? And then he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be you, Mickey, and Ashley. I was like, okay. I was like, well, that's good to know. Like, you know, it's kind of played it off. And I went directly to Mickey and was like, girl, it's not looking good for us. Like, it's generally not looking good. And that's when she was like, should I tell Rachel? And I was like, yeah, because especially since we just saw how Rachel was, I'm like, she could potentially help us. I don't know.
Skip. We are skipping ahead because it's a lot.
Like, we'll the part about her power was that, yes, it's a, we're
still talking about her power
takeover, but you have to show yourself. And I was like, oh my God.
Show yourself.
Like had just a complete sort of rearrangement of her priorities as the HOH at this point, where
Mickey lost it.
Where she was like, okay, I'm all in again on Morgan, and I want to like work on this. And this was the most wild thing. Like threaten her if she dares put you up on the block. And Catherine's like, Riley, you have to be nice. You have to pretend. And so Riley goes to Mickey, and he's like, it's okay. I'm gonna protect Catherine with my life. I'll protect you with my life. And Mickey's just like, he's gonna protect me with my life. I've got it.
Believes it, yeah.
And then later on, like a couple weeks later, he's like bragging to Keanu, like, I can't believe Mickey fell for that. Like, and it's just like, Mickey, like, how do you think you have these people on lock? It was so obvious.
Yeah, I remember like early in the season, she was talking about my social game, and she's like, Morgan, like your social game is like impeccable, like the way that people just gravitate towards you, like, you know. And I think that's kind of why she felt very uncomfortable with Zach and Vince, because she thought I was going to choose them over her, and I was always being like, very and I was like, oh my God, this can either be really good for Mickey or really bad for Mickey. And optics, people see Jimmy really close with her, Jimmy close to me. Like, am I going to be naive and think that people aren't going to see us all? Like, I feel like people were definitely clocking it. And I was like, okay, so this isn't good, but it's kind of making one of those, like you're showing one of your cards face up, and that's okay, because guess what? She's the HOH. What are you going to do about it?
And that was exactly it, is that like once Mickey came into power, it like everything.
You guys get ready, because she's gonna be on Darren's if she doesn't, before she starts her own, she'll get like a weekly spot doing the live feed updates, and her day will be so long.
It started falling into place again. Like all of that stuff that we were talking about, where like it was seemingly starting to unravel. Like all of a sudden, Vince and Zach were like, Lauren, who? We need Morgan, because we need Morgan's influence over Mickey.
Taryn, stop. She's like,
and so they were like gravitating toward you much more again. And Mickey like had just a complete sort of rearrangement of her priorities as the HOH at this point, where she was like, okay, I'm all in again on Morgan, and I want to like work on this. And this was the most wild thing, was she like Riley loses it on her. She nominates him. And then, and by the way, Riley is having conversations with Catherine like, I freaking hate her. I hate her so much. I want to go like threaten her if she dares put.
Why is Morgan going, I know? How does she know? None of them knew that Riley was talking like this. So did she see clips or something?
You up on the block. And Catherine's like, Riley, you have to be nice. You have to pretend. And so Riley goes to Mickey, and he's like, it's okay. I'm going to protect Catherine with my life. I'll protect you with my life. And Mickey's just like, he's going to protect me with my life. I've got it.
Believes it, yeah.
And then later on, like a couple weeks later, he's like bragging to Keanu, I can't believe Mickey fell for that. Like, and it's just like, Mickey, like, how do you think you have these people on lock? It was so obvious.
Yeah, I remember like early in the season, she was talking about my social game, and she's like, Morgan, like your social game is like impeccable.
I was so bored, I didn't even realize it got rewound by producer Prince.
Feel like, damn, you're gonna take over my HOH. I'm gonna come for you whenever I get the chance. I never understood why she trusted it so heavily to the point of like starting to,
oh my God,
value that versus what was already built. And that's where I
had no idea. I knew he was hitting keys on my keyboard, but I didn't know he rewound it that far. I didn't even realize.
Started getting a little bit like kind of like, oh God, like what's gonna happen this week?
This is the worst deep dive ever. I'm just gonna say it. I'm saying it. I'm putting it out there, and no shade, no offense, all offense to Taryn. What were you gonna do? You know, I mean. But this is horrible. This is so far. I hate it. I don't like it, and I get it, and it's fine. I don't have to like it. It doesn't have to be for me.
I am not buying it.
But I hate it. I hate it here. I hate it here
because, like you said, like everything, like she won like she got the HOH. Everything was now perfect for our side. We had full control. Now,
hate it.
Now we're gonna get rid of another number over on that side.
We're almost 3 hours in, and there's been no revelations for this woman who hasn't even watched the episodes and obviously didn't know everything that was going on in the house and still getting stuff wrong, and we're letting her.
But then she's saying like, oh, well, I don't want to put up, Catherine. It's like, oh, okay.
I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it here.
Yeah. Let's see how this week goes then,
Yeah. So again, like the nominations initially are fine. Kelly and Keanu and Riley, obviously. But then of course Keanu wins the veto again.
Yes, that was my first competition too. That was the first time competing in a veto, at least. And it was funny because that was one of the competitions that I studied. I studied Tucker, I studied, all those things. And I never looked behind me to count like my process of the steps, because I'm really good at that stuff. And that was like one thing I was like, oh, I got this in the bag. But I was more.
Put it in the live chat. Do you hate it or do you love it? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much? 10 being the best, 0 being the worst. What do we think about the Morgan deep dive thus far?
Worried because when they told us that it was a time base, because Tucker and them, they didn't have a time base. It was just whoever completed it first, which is why you see that face off between him and Cedric, which is going to go to the finals. So when I Tucker.
Players, I believe, have the same pattern.
Same pattern.
So you can kind of, as you're saying, work together to reveal which are the correct paths.
You guys are killing me. I'm going to highlight some of these. Antonio says 1. Brandy says 0. Seti says 1. Goldie says -5,000. DTF1. Cammy 6. Cammy, you're so positive. L0. Yes, B. Nichols says he didn't even ask a question and she's ranting again. Antonio says terrible. Tariq says 1 to 2. Katie says I just love the roast of it all. Okay. SK says 5. Sex Poobie. You Lex. You're a good person. I'm not. Says 10. Archer says -10. Ellie says 2. Molly 1. B. Nichols 0. Dale 3. Rika says 0. -100. 1. 0. Oh boy. 1. Hated it. Oh god. Danny says fire Darren for this. No one's firing Darren.
You're terrible, Mira.
Terrible, Mira. With love.
In order to get the fastest time, which mattered in this case because like the fastest time was getting like a buy round to the
finals. Exactly. Now you couldn't sit there and be like, hey Rachel, like it's right, left. Like you can't say that. But she could easily have looked over because we saw that in past seasons. I mean, it was definitely a little bit harder because the depth perception from being that far apart. But regardless, her and I had the same pattern. Mickey and Keanu had the same because it changed per like round. But I was super happy when Rachel won and got the fastest times. I was like, whew, okay, this is gonna make it harder for Keanu. Will he make it to the end? It's very likely. I mean, he was very good at that. He took his time. He was very patient. But at least Rachel's in the finals and not, like Keanu or even, I mean, I guess I wouldn't have been upset if Riley would have gotten it because then it would have potentially solidified Keanu going home.
Keanu still leaves, yeah. I mean, he probably wins the blockbuster. But.
I know. I was like, unless the blockbuster, which I can't remember what the blockbuster was. I think
we don't have to know what the blockbuster is. We don't have to know. Sorry, guys. My phone fell off the desk and onto Teddy and he went running like, what the hell? And I had to go apologize to him and be like, oh my God, are you okay? This stupid phone. Come on, Teddy bear, you sweetie. Look at this boy. Let's see. Can we see him here? Show yourself. Ay. Hi, Teddy. I love you. Stupid phone. You deserve better. Justice for Teddy.
Actually would have gotten that because Riley won that blockbuster. And I think if Riley
that was the
balanced one, I think Keanu would have gotten that anyway.
But yeah, Riley was pretty good at it, but there was definitely Jimmy would have beaten Riley if he hadn't missed a shot. So
yeah, and I thought Jimmy was a great competitor too. Like that's why when I talk about the triple threat, I was happy. Like I think Jimmy had like he was kind of more so focusing on his social game like I was, but I was confident that he was going to do well in physical competitions and things. Especially because he had like played tennis. Now I don't know if he actually played tennis. I didn't think he was telling the truth about his job, but I thought like he was a tennis ad, like
I believe he was actually a tennis coach at some point.
Yeah.
But then he was also like a whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember what his actual job is.
Yeah, I don't either.
AI.
He is an AI strategist.
A Washington political person.
Yes.
No, he's like an AI consulted strategist.
What I will say is that competition and seeing Keanu win and seeing Jimmy's
you think he's kind of flirting? What if they're together? What if they hook up?
Reaction to Keanu winning. The first person I looked at was Mickey. Like we made eye contact being like, did you just see that? Like, because it's like we knew he's been wanting Keanu out since week
Crow. I have talked to Hype Man husband Chella Ren about that, and we definitely need to get that. We need a fur baby cam.
Right? Mm-hmm. Keanu had been targeting Mickey and I, talking about how we're cooking our way to the top. Like we had heard so much more from Keanu. Like we had known that Keanu was directly targeting us. So when Jimmy just erupted and hugged him, we were both like, wait a second. Like, first of all, this is Mickey's HOH. Mm. And I'm also competing to try to get this. And you're excited that Keanu won? But we're your alliance. So that was the first time where, I don't know if it showed it in the episode, but Mickey had looked at me and first initial, like, girl, you have arena. We can make some moves because like at all.
Yeah. So this is where things get weird because
very weird.
There's basically 3 options. There's the correct option, which is Catherine. Then there's the like risky move but could pay off option, which is Vince. And then there's the I don't want to win this
more snacks
game anymore option, which is Jimmy. And this is for Mickey because obviously there's different incentive for you. Though I still personally think that Catherine is still the better option for you, even over Jimmy.
I'll agree. How do you guys feel about people eating while live streaming? Put it in the chat. I'm just curious. Because her snacking, it just makes me want to. She chews very politely, but it makes me want snack.
Yeah, but it seems to stem from Keanu comes up and has this long conversation with you and Mickey.
You guys are all like that.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I believe like the intention there initially was to like, number one, like Keanu just won the veto again. We have to save face. And then number 2. We're still, pretty upset with Jimmy over week 2, and we see that Jimmy has a good relationship with Keanu. We want Keanu to be more mad at Jimmy than at us. Okay, yeah, I guess Jimmy. Yeah, you're right, Jimmy.
Yeah. So after that happened, I remember I was devastated that I lost that because I was like, this is the first time I can actually like feel like I can win something potentially and make a move for Mickey and like keep the noms the same. I wanted to do it for her. Obviously, we came up short. Keanu won the veto. And I went into the have not room and I was like broken. And Keanu was actually the first person to like comfort me. And I was like, what the hell is going on? But like it was nice. Like I always respected Keanu as like an athlete and stuff. And I remember even telling him like after that, or like that was like later in the other conversation, which we'll get into. So I'll just go back to, you know,
no more athletes. That's it. I've decided. Beauregard, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Zach and Vince came in. They were like checking. And then Jimmy came in and he's like, so, like, because I thought he was gonna be like, hey, are you okay? Like, I'm so sorry. But he was like, so it's gonna be Catherine, right? Yeah, because I think with Catherine. And then he just goes in and I'm just like, whoa, bro, like read the room right now. Like now, yet again, the house can't get Keanu out. And now it's trying to think of options. And you're just automatically like ready to go Catherine, 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 even though all Mickey has been saying is she was not going to put up Catherine because she promised Riley and she didn't want to damage that relationship. So in my head, I'm like, I don't even know what's going to happen at this point. Like, I'm just pissed off at you because you were so elated about Keanu winning this when you knew the mission, which was to get out Keanu. So I didn't understand that. Like, sure, can I maybe understand that he was trying to save face? But I think there's a way that you can save face without pissing off your allies to the point of like, you literally celebrated, like jumped up in the air, like his head almost hit the ceiling. You know what I mean? It was just like, Jimmy, hello? Like, so insane. So that was like the first time where me and Mickey were like,
still stupid. Still so dumb. Still dumb. As annoying as Jimmy was, it was still so stupid. I know they're going to try to break it down for us, the reason to get Jimmy out, but it was so dumb. This whole season was just people targeting their own allies for stupid reasons.
Like you said, we thought back to week 2 where he was more so consulting like Catherine, Lauren, and other people and not us. It's like, oh, so Jimmy is playing his own game, which he should be. But like,
and why don't you get rid of the people that he seems to be aligning himself with? Remove the threat.
Like, then why?
Like you were going to do with Lauren.
He keeps saying triple threats everything, because it's giving that it's not giving everything. You know what I mean? So we were just very confused on that.
Sounds like you guys were building a case against.
Okay, so give me the timeline because there is
and like no pushback.
There's sort of like a little bit of like a back and forth with this, even just from you yourself, because you do push initially for Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to, I guess I'll give you my interpretation, which is that you initially have this idea of like, you know what, screw Jimmy. Let's do Jimmy. And then after thinking about it a little bit more, you're like, wait, no, it actually does make way more sense to do Catherine. Why don't we just do Catherine? But Mickey's like, I'm never touching Catherine. Mickey then at that point says, my other option is Vince. And so you're like, okay, then Jimmy.
Right. Because so I obviously was upset at Jimmy, but I was like, okay, we can figure this out because it's triple threat. Maybe we can have a conversation. We can kind of see what's going on. But I had also heard from like other people that like Jimmy was creating alliances and like just kind of doing some things. And I was like, our agreement in the very beginning was to tell each other everything. If you
were in like the whole threesome with Zach and Vic.
Stop. In an alliance, if you were doing other things, well, why is this happening? Like, what's going on specifically with me? But Mickey loved, at least to my knowledge.
Oh, Taryn is sitting down. I thought he was standing.
I was like, in my head. So now this is where I'm losing my mind because I'm like, wait, but we're in the.
I've lost my mind.
Melting pot. Like,
yeah.
Why are we going to put up somebody
together?
Yes. Like, we put the melting pot like that day in her HOH. So I was like, wait, but like we're in this
Trey
alliance.
Desperado, Christine.
Why are we going to put up Vince? Which I mean, I get the other things like, well, Morgan, that the same thing can be said about Jimmy. And it's like, sure, I totally understand that. But Mickey and I both were very confused on why Jimmy was like purposely damaging, at least I'll speak for myself because I can't speak for her, but like going around telling Lauren and Catherine that we don't like them. Going around continuously spreading the rumors and like enticing Keanu to continue to come after me and Mickey. Like that was a direct ally doing that to us. I did not understand that. And to me,
what I will say, sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Tara and go. Okay, I have to interrupt. Okay, I know. This is like, ooh. You're speaking in paragraphs, ma'am. Okay, way to go, Taryn. Way to go. Just get right in there. Get in there. Get in when the getting's good.
What I will say for Jimmy.
Go ahead. Go ahead. She hates you now.
In that regard, is that I do think that that was inflated by Keanu. Like a lot of that did stem from Keanu and Jimmy.
She looks ready to. I don't know what it is with Morgan, but she looks ready to pounce on him. Like, no, go ahead. Are you gonna try to explain that to me? Like she looks ready for like, let's like Mortal Kombat.
Actually, even at times tried to get Keanu off of that train of thought, but Keanu was very honed in on that idea. And so
Okay. Are you done talking? When's it my turn again?
I think Jimmy took a lot of heat for like fanning those flames, but like the flames came from Keanu very much so, I would say.
Right. I mean, living in a house with Keanu and seeing how he was like navigating, like, you're right. Like once he's like set on something, it's like you cannot tell. You can.
Do you think she listened to what he said?
Bruh.
Literally show evidence. You can show him a clip and he'll still be like, no, because I think actually, and it's like, okay, well, you know, fine. You know what I mean? Like, because even.
Sorry, I'll give Keanu some credit because I did a whole deep dive with him and he's been.
Oh God, that Taryn, it only took 3 hours and we got some pushback. Thank you. Thank you. Or as the BB27 house guests call him, Tehran. Thank you, Tehran. Thank you, sir. But she's like, oh, we're interrupting again. Okay. All right, cool. All right, cool.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
He's been very open to hearing all of the criticism I had.
Yeah, I played some video games with him the other day and I teased him about it. I was like, oh, so I was like, how does it feel to know that me and Rachel actually weren't targeting you? And he started laughing so hard. I was like, hey, it's okay. Like, you know, it's just a game. It was really funny. But more so like just in the house at that time.
Yes,
like
in the house,
Keanu
very
was
much
just, he was desperate to get out the people that were talking about him. And he thought it was me and Mickey. So of course, like we knew it was coming for him, but we also knew Jimmy was not doing as much, you know, trying, at least to our or my knowledge. Like, you know, he never was like, hey, Morgan, like I'm trying to tell Keanu, but he's not listening to me. He was just like, no, like, I don't like, you know, it was just kind of brushed under the rug.
He did a very bad job defending himself, I will say, from my perspective.
Yeah. So that was the hard part for me. Cause like one thing about me, I'm obviously like a passionate person. So if I was to see him being like, Morgan, like I'm telling you, I was talking to Keanu, I've done this, I would have been maybe like, okay, like, let's try to reshape some things. But it was very much like, don't worry, I'm handling it. Like triple threat's in a great position. And it's like, how? No, I think you're in a good position because we're getting targeted. We almost went on the block this week because of Riley. We're still getting targeted because Keanu. Like you're in a good position, not us. Like the only reason why we're good is because of this power. So I remember when Mickey brought up Vince, how she was like, yeah, other couple people are bringing up Vince. That's when I was like, oh no, like this is not good. Because Vince, without like us like officializing anything, like he was my other, I guess, like final two, if you will. And that was actually only because when Mickey brought that up, she knew how close I was to him. And I was like, wait, like, this is so weird. Like, why is Vince out all of a sudden when I thought when we made this like group of four, you were excited about it. Like I felt like
you guys threw Mickey into the back of the group of your little threesome a day late, many dollars short. And you were like, take the scraps. And it was so dumb. And we wanted Mickey to put up Zach and Vince and not take this lame alliance. That was a last ditch effort to save their dumbasses. No. Ugh.
You were happy that like we were all on the same page. So that was really hard. But what I will say is when we did have a meeting with,
then Morgan cried to save those dudes.
I ended up learning after the show because I had a couple friends be like, you blindsided Jimmy. I was like, what? We didn't blindside Jimmy. But I guess the way it came out.
You blindsided Jimmy. Even Jimmy says you blindsided Jimmy.
I was like, we blindsided Jimmy.
Well, there's a scene in the episode because it wasn't on the feeds, but in the episodes we see like you two like rushing and getting ready as you're explaining to Jimmy that he's going up.
So
yeah.
So the night before, after we talk with everyone, we pull up Jimmy, and I let Mickey take the reins on this because she's the HOH, and I was like, you know, if I'm HOH, I kind of want to be the one to take the reins, so I'm gonna let her do the thing. I'm just gonna kind of be here as a support. And she was going through the memory wall and just asking him
I sped it up. I've been speeding it up and speeding it down.
Question that she had from her one-on-ones. Because I obviously wasn't sitting in these one-on-ones. I was letting Mickey do her thing, just being here to support and an ally and stuff. So she was asking a lot of questions. I had ended up finding out from Vince that supposedly an alliance was created after Adrian's eviction. It was pulled in by, I guess, like Jimmy pulled in Kelly, Keanu, Vince, and was kind of like, hey, we need to stick together. You know, whatever. I don't know if that actually happened, but that's what we heard.
Let Taryn answer.
I believe this was a real conversation, but I believe that Vince intentionally tried to place the blame on Jimmy because he knew he was an option also that week to be nominated. So he tried to make it seem like it was a Jimmy thing, even though it wasn't really a Jimmy thing. Jimmy was just, again, like sort of, I mean, he's certainly culpable in that conversation, but like,
okay.
Again, it was less so like Jimmy trying to like make something happen and more so Jimmy just trying to like be like, sure, guys, like, don't come after me.
Yeah, because the way he explained it was like an alliance was created first by Keanu. Like Keanu pulled them in and was like, hey, you know, like I don't know what happened with this foe, but like we need to work together. And Jimmy told us that he basically was like, oh, like he just kind of brushed off an alliance and basically like said that he wasn't going to do it. And me and Mickey are like, first of all, Big Brother 101 is you never turn down an alliance. So we didn't understand his reasoning on that because it's like, that doesn't even make sense. It would make much more sense if you were like, yeah, actually, let's do an alliance. Let me go tell my girls what they're doing. But he kind of denied that he accepted the alliance, which is where we were like, wait, why would you potentially deny an alliance being suggested to you or proposed?
Yeah, so like I think again, like some of the context of this is that for weeks now, Keanu has had the perspective that he's part of the majority with Vince and Riley and Catherine and Lauren. And he's been trying to pull Jimmy from the bottom of the other side to his side. And the other side is you and Mickey. And so like he's been sort of like talking to Jimmy. And it was always so funny to try to talk about Keanu's game because it was really like, we said it was Keanu playing the game was a little bit like the little brother holding a controller that wasn't plugged in. Like
sorry, that shouldn't be like, oh my god.
He was just
sorry,
like
that's
a whole
so funny.
different game most of the time.
Oh, Keanu.
And so
he was trying so hard too. Oh, bless his
yeah,
heart.
exactly.
She gave him a blast his heart.
And so I think at that point, Jimmy was very used to just like, yes, and again, like yes, and Keanu. And like, listen, the guy keeps sticking around. I'm happy for him to not target me, but I'm obviously not actually working with him in any real capacity. And so, you know, again, like it definitely looked bad, and Vince was able to spin it in a way, and Keanu was able to spin it in a way, and it definitely wasn't great. And what he did during his HOH was terrible. But I think the thing for the audience at the time was like, at the end of the day, Jimmy was infinitely more loyal to you and Mickey than he was to almost anyone else in the house. Maybe Rachel at that point had like been as with the same level or so.
Yeah.
But he was very much, and my thing at the time too was like, especially for Mickey, was like, even if you can't fully trust Jimmy, he's still not your problem to deal with. He's a problem for everyone else to deal with first, before they come to you. And you're just doing their dirty work right now. But yeah.
Yeah. So that was like one thing that was hard, at least for me, because when we talked about that and Mickey was asking every question, I mean, like, excuse me, the one thing about Mickey is she was very good about talking with everyone and getting, you know, asking the questions that she wanted to ask. One thing.
Are we going to admit that the Jimmy thing was stupid, or are we just going to make excuses for it?
He is creating these alliances behind our back. I don't want to get blindsided at any point. I don't like, it doesn't make sense to put up Vince. Like, why were we going to do that? Like, he never home. I was in a much worse position just because of the connections he had with other people. He was giving me information about Lauren, about Keanu, about other people that I was not fully connected to. So losing Vince was bad for my game that week.
Yeah. And you know, it's, again, for me, it was just like, it just should have been Catherine, you know, like it was so easy.
I wish it would have been Catherine. She was just very adamant about not upsetting Riley, because her thing was like, because she got pretty emotional about it. She's like, who am I to take over his HOH?
And she only did that because she thought America loved Riley. She didn't give a shit. She wasn't worried about who am I to take over his HOH. She was afraid because they all thought that Riley was America's favorite player, and we hated him because he was an abusive a-hole. And yeah, that's why they did that. Come on.
And then put his girl up on the block. And in my head, I'm like, it's a game. Like,
I don't know.
Like, you know, you just got to kind of do it.
I've never seen somebody tank so hard, both in like win equity in the game and also popularity from outside that.
Mickey, that HOH just.
It just like that week, she went from like the front runner and like like a lot of people's favorites to just like, oh, she's clearly going to lose this game, and screw her for making that move, because that was so stupid. I
was like really shocked because like after, like I said, after we had that conversation that night, Jimmy actually pulled me in the have not room, and I don't know if they showed this on the show, but he asked me, he's like, should I be worried about Mickey? And I didn't want to throw Mickey under the bus and be like, yeah, you kind of should. So I would, because like, you know, at the end of the day, she was my final two. So I was like, Mickey's felt like after that conversation, remember, she was just like, I can't trust him, and trust was a really big thing for her. And so after, I just was like, hey, maybe just go talk to her. I just tried to encourage him to go talk to her, because I felt like at that point, like, she's the HOH, she's going to make a decision. I don't want to be the one to tell you like, hey, like this isn't looking good for you. So I didn't. And then the next morning, we were not prepared to get like literally over the intercom, like the veto meeting is going to be in 15.
So they can't even admit that they blindsided Jimmy. Like, are we really doing this? We're still talking about this. Just admit it. You blindsided Jimmy. Oh, well.
Minutes. That's why we were frantic.
No, we thought we were gonna have more time.
We thought we had plenty of time. Like, we woke up because like our plan was, she's like, hey, like, why don't you come up? We'll get ready. We'll bring Jimmy up here, and like we'll actually have like.
It's still blindsiding him the day of, as you're getting ready for the veto ceremony. That's like still pretty much blindsiding him when he's in your alliance. Your final three.
A sit down conversation and help him understand like why he's going up on the block. Like, that was our entire plan. Like, Mickey did not want to blindside him. I did not want to blindside him, because at the end of the day, we still cared about him. He was still.
You guys both wanted to blindside him. What is happening? What is going on? This is like, what?
I'm not quite sure why I'm here or what I'm doing, but there's a reason.
Our friend, he was still our initial final three.
We were like, talk to Jimmy. The audience is like yelling, like, why don't you just talk to him? Just have a conversation. Talk to the man. He was like ironing your clothes, helping you with your hair, kikiing with you guys, and you guys were like blindsiding him.
And then when I'm getting up there, we literally get the announcement, and me and Mickey are looking at each other like, what the fuck? What do you mean we're having a veto meeting? So then I was like, I'm gonna go get Jimmy. And then that's when you start seeing the frantic rush around.
You knew the veto meeting was that day.
She's been looking to take a shot at him. Ashley has also been on Vince's case since basically week 2. Rachel has made a final 2 with Ava at this point, and also opened Ava's eyes to Vince, who was like, Rachel, after you told me that, I watched him pull people one-on-one all day long. You're totally right. And so Rachel made a big push to get Vince on the block. Of course, has this big conversation with Mickey where she says to put Ava on the block. We knew who she was referring to, because she felt like if it's not Vince, then like, what are we even doing here? And Ashley is up there trying to get Vince on the block, and it works. And Mickey is like, okay, I think I might have to do Vince. And part of the argument too is you can't take out Jimmy. Jimmy's a number for you. Vince is a number for Morgan. You're just doing Morgan's work. And then Mickey basically tells you that, and you are just like, you cannot do Vince. You cannot take him from me. Like, this is like, you can't do this. And Keanu interrupts the conversation as well, and he makes his case, and you talk her down, and up goes Jimmy instead. But that's not the end of that story, because Ashley at that point is still like, okay, this is not good for us. Rachel is pissed. And so Ashley keeps trying to do a little bit of work to feel out, like, can we get the votes to keep Jimmy? But this immediately gets back to Mickey, and she's pissed at Ashley.
Mickey was pissed.
Yes, this was like Ashley's house pariah again, round 3, basically.
Yeah, I think Ashley in the beginning kind of really, because sometimes Ashley would say like comments that a lot of people felt were like insensitive. I don't know if she meant any harm by it, but a lot of people would be like, oh, Ashley's doing a little bit too much, or Ashley's doing this. And you know, there goes again, like Ashley just kind of being, you know, kind of fanned, you know, like her flames are being fanned.
This is what Ashley referred to as like her Elle Woods be a little bit disliked strategy.
Oh, okay, I love that. But yeah, I remember.
Oh, okay, yeah, is that what she's doing? Okay, I love that. Yeah. You didn't know that? You didn't listen to her final 2 speech? I mean, word on the curb is that maybe Morgan and Ashley don't speak. Oh, really? She did. That was a strategy. Oh, I think Morgan really still believes that Ashley is who she was in the house, and that there wasn't any kind of, that she wasn't playing up any of that.
Before we like get into that, like,
honestly, I don't think Morgan super respects Ashley's game.
That was when Mickey and I had a really deep conversation with Keanu, because he was going around apologizing for, you know, I believe you have a prompt, you know, whole thing like with Ava. And so
who cares?
I remember, because this is something that I was going to like mention in my final speech if I ever did, like, oh God, I keep punching this thing. One of the things that I feel like I did really well on was, you know, turning like my enemies into people that whether or not they're allies, they no longer viewed me as a threat, or they viewed me as an asset. Because when Keanu came out to apologize, I was still just like itching at my core to understand why my name was still in his mouth. I was like, I don't understand. We squashed beef. We did all this. Why am I still continuously hearing that you are jabbing about my name? Like, I did not understand. So I remember when you're outside and he was just like, yeah, I just wanted to apologize. Like, I know I came off wrong, like, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I actually, like, you know, if we actually talk to you? And I remember Mickey looking at me. I was like, I think we can go in the HOH room. Like, that was the first time where I was like,
oh, it's when they have their talk with Keanu. Okay.
Keanu, I can't really say anything.
We don't still, I mean, how much do you have to talk about that?
But he obviously did eventually come to respect your game a lot, and I think was very much a vote for you in the jury as well.
And Ashley did. So it'd be good to just admit that, because remember, Morgan allegedly, according to her, you know, got mad because the people she talked to the night that she went out for like Quinn's party right after leaving the house, didn't recognize that she had the best game, that she was the best player in the house, that she had the best game. And we realized that she was talking to Ashley when she said that, the winner of the season. So of course, Ashley's going to be like, what did you just say to me?
So, you know, there is, I think, something there in the sense that, like, at the very least, it opened the lines of communication. But yeah, definitely did not get him off of your scent quite yet.
Right. That was like, but that was my whole thing. Is like, as long as Keanu can understand.
Oh my God, why are we talking about Keanu this much?
And it was like, well,
Ashley, of course, realizes Mickey's pissed at her, does her Ashley thing where she just like went up to the HOH room and like refused to leave the conversation until Mickey opened up about it.
Really?
Like, Mickey, I feel like something's wrong. Mickey was like, no, it's fine. Mickey, like, what's going on? Like for an hour before Mickey finally is like,
And Morgan, this is Ashley's social game.
I'm just mad about this Jimmy thing. And then Ashley's like, no, I haven't done anything about Jimmy. And this is where Ashley does something that is pretty key to the following week as well. Because obviously you guys make the melting pot alliance. This is sort of like, we're taking
I
out
think Morgan feels like Ashley just kind of got lucky.
Jimmy. We're going to solidify together. This is our thing. And I think Mickey was like pretty on board with this.
And I think she ultimately got to the place where Vince was at from the beginning, that they deserved to be there. And Ashley, however cool Morgan was with Ashley, and there were points where Morgan did stick up for Ashley. I think she ultimately, you hang out with someone that long and you're like, oh yeah, we're the best. Us too. The Night Owls. We're so awesome.
But Ashley had been talking
And
to
Ashley just lucked her way there.
Ava. And Ashley also had a weird vibe at the Adrian vote. And so she pretends to Ava that she knew that Zach and Vince were trying to flip the vote to see if Ava accidentally will confirm it. And she does. She's like, yeah, it's so crazy that they tried to flip the vote like that. And Ava's like, I know, they came to me that night before. Wait, how'd you know that? And this pisses Ava off.
Morgan, it was actually like a pretty big moment and very interesting for Ashley. And she's like, okay. Morgan's just like, wow, that's nothing. But if she had done it, we'd be talking about it for like 30 minutes.
But Ashley then gets this information, brings it to Mickey and says, hey, did you know
she's bored
about them trying to flip the vote? And Mickey's like, yeah, I kind of figured, but actually, no. What do you mean? They tried to flip the vote?
Right.
And she's like, yeah, apparently Zach and Vince went to Ava the night before. They were like trying to get her to flip on Will. And
her body language is just reading annoyed to me. Anyways, back to me, Taryn. Enough about the winner of the season.
Mickey's like, wow, I'm really looking at Zach differently because I really believed him when he told me that he didn't try to flip that vote. And of course, this helps repair their relationship at this point, but then also starts pointing Mickey back at Zach, which is very relevant because Ava wins the following HOH. And under Mickey's instructions,
yes,
Zach on
was
the
able
block.
to get Zach. Yeah, because I remember after Jimmy went up on the block and that vote, Ashley's vote, because we all knew it was Ashley.
We all knew. Ashley wasn't fooling everyone. We all know it was Ashley.
Everyone knew it was Ashley. So I remember Ashley.
Talking about Ashley's.
Yeah, like
You have to have seen the clip of Ashley.
I haven't seen it. Honestly, God, I have
going
not
back
watched.
into the diary room.
I saw like a brief one. Yeah, I saw
Okay,
that
yeah.
one. Yes. Oh, I thought you meant a different one. Yeah. So I haven't watched any like deep dives or anything like that, but I did see that, and that was comical. I was like, oh my God, we're accidentally voting the wrong way.
Wait, no, I meant to. It's voting Jimmy out.
Yeah, right.
And then
I was like, no. I just sounded like it was no. So I think at the end of that, like after Jimmy gets evicted, I remember, Ashley pulling me in and she was crying. She's like, it wasn't me. And I knew it was her because I'm like, it wouldn't have been Catherine. Like Catherine did not like the fact that Jimmy was throwing her name to me and Mickey. Like the only person that makes sense is you. But like I said, there's just some things I was like, whatever, I don't care. Like that's Mickey's problem. Because Mickey, I remember she said like, if Ashley's the one who went against me, like, because she had a lot of discourse with Ashley as well. Because I know that conversation that you were just mentioning where they were up there talking, Mickey had came to me after and was like, I remember exactly what she said, but essentially like Ashley had some kind of like comments that was made and like really pissed off Mickey and like kind of, I don't know, she just said some things and like Mickey was really bothered by it.
Mickey just got mad at Ashley all the time for like nothing, I feel like.
There was a bunch of, I sort of simplified the story by pointing to the one moment, but there were a few back and forths in the relationship between Mickey and Ashley, which ultimately culminated in them coming back
Mickey was always annoyed by Ashley, always. And she talked down to her. She's like my little sister.
together. But like,
Right.
there was another argument, and then there was also one with Will involved. Well, there were multiple Will involved. There was a very
Yeah.
funny conversation with Ashley, Mickey, and Will up in the HOH room where Mickey was like trying to be mad at Ashley for the Jimmy stuff, and then Ashley would be like, no, I haven't done any of that. And then Mickey was like, Ashley, you talk way too much. And Ashley's like, what do you mean I talk too much? Will, do I talk too much? And Will would be like,
Will was always in those rooms kind of like just wishing that he had like a bottle of wine and just
he
was
never
like-
wanted to take a side, and he just wanted to
No.
agree with everyone.
which honestly made sense for his game. To be
Oh
fair.
yeah. Well, okay.
Lindsay,
So
there's knives.
if you
Like
haven't
having
seen
his
the
two daughters
episodes,
fight.
They just have to hide them now because of an early season of Big Brother. Yeah, BB2.
you might not have exactly. You might not have seen this, but Will has a whole storyline in the diary room about how he's
That was my favorite. How Will's like, I'm not listening to any of these people.
he can't handle it with all these young people in the house, and he's not listening half the time. He's like, yeah, they were just talking to me, and I was just like, yep, yeah, and then they would show, because that's Will's personality. Like,
yep,
that's a whole other thing. It's Ava's armpit hair and steak is probably what was trending for her
70% of the time in the house.
Yeah.
So multiple times when we were watching Will, we'd be like, okay, is he listening in this conversation though? Because he needs
because
to be.
it's looking like he's not like listening. Yeah. So I just know
Taryn's like trying to have fun. It was so funny. She's like, yeah. I was just like, yeah, what I remember is
oh, that after that, like I remember Mickey was feeling some type
I remember
way about Ashley, because she was like, I think Ashley was the vote. And I was like, Ashley was the vote, because the thing is, and I don't know if like Ashley was intending to do this, but like when I had talked to her, I was like, Ashley, you were the one person that was with Rachel and Jimmy the whole week. Why wouldn't it have been you? You know, you were hanging out with them. People.
Okay, who cares? We're still talking about the Ashley thing.
At the same time, like I said, I was like, we had like, you know, essentially what I got, what I wanted happened. So I can't complain right now.
It's inappropriate.
Yeah. So
Taryn, yeah. Okay, I guess so. We're not gonna laugh about it. Okay, I thought it was kind of funny, but all right, moving on.
Ultimately, it is Jimmy that's evicted. Ashley tries to switch her vote in a very humorous fashion. Ava wins the following HOH, and Ava.
I can't believe. I mean, can we before we get? Can we talk about how people played that game?
It was very emblematic of the gameplay of the season.
He's including you on that, Morgan. You guys played really bad, Morgan. I need you guys all to know that you guys were really bad at this game. Every one of you, minus Rachel, was horrendous at this game pretty much. Like, really bad. This will not be looked back at. I need these players to know that this will not be looked back at as a season of great gameplay and strategy. You guys didn't know what you were doing. You guys were awful. We made the best with what we had. I know everyone's rewriting history now and to make you guys feel better, but you were all very bad. You were very, very bad. You all played just like chickens with their head cut off. You didn't know to stick with your alliance. You all were in your fifis. You all thought you knew everything, so you wouldn't take in information. It was just really bad. So I just want you guys to know that, and that we did the best as an audience, and that none of you are going to go down as super great strategists. Okay, thank you.
I was so pissed. Like when Riley went up first, I was like, volunteers. What are we volunteering for tribute? This is not the Hunger Games, guys. We're playing Big Brother. This is a whole knockout. You're supposed to target people. And then he picks Zach and somebody, or Zach and Catherine, I think, or Zach and somebody. And then Zach picks me and Will. I said, what the? I said, oh my God. If I could have just said what I really wanted to say was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you dumb? Like, respectfully, why are you picking your allies to play in this game?
Especially because he ends up leaving that week.
Especially because
and strangely, that's not even the worst movie made.
No, that was just the start of the worst moves of the week. And my thing was like, usually if you do pick your allies, it's when you have no one else to pick from. I'm like, Zach, if you're aware that you're being, you know, if you don't like Ashley, or if you're not feeling Keanu, if you're not feeling Rachel, why wouldn't you pick them? I just never understood that. Will whooped my ass. Like he got the right thing. I was happy because I was like, okay, cool. Like I really don't want to win this HOH. I don't want to have like blood on my hands, especially since Mickey's HOH just happened. Like if I go back to like not back to back, but it's like if it's Mickey's and then me, like people are gonna be like, okay, these girls are really running this. So I was like, I was happy that I didn't win it, but I was like, that's not how you play this game. Like, so then I'm just like, okay, I'm just like learning more about the people that I'm aligned with. Like, okay, like that wasn't a smart decision. Is he gonna end up making a dumb decision like this in the future where it like really matters? And then, yeah, like, and usually like we've seen in past Big Brother seasons, the people who make it towards the end and could potentially win that are the people that people find less threatening and like, you know, not a problem. So Ava ended up winning that HOH and started the week of, yeah, that was a very interesting week for me. Seeing both my like, you know, alliance members up on the block and clocking a lot of things. Go ahead. Yeah.
Not coercive control and triangulation. Okay. She's going to need a civil stalking injunction.
HOH, and she knew immediately who she was going to nominate. It wasn't a question for her. Keanu had yelled at her. She said they got into a fight. She said Vinny the Lip, because she's been on to him for a while. And then obviously the third nominee was Ashley. She was 100% dead set. Ashley's on the block. She's been annoyed at Ashley for a while. She was annoyed that Ashley even floated the idea of keeping Jimmy the previous week. And she tells Mickey this, and Mickey says, it can't be Ashley. It needs to be Zach. And she talks to Will, and Will says, I think it should be
Morgan's Zach. Still pissed that her boys were nominated. Look at her.
And Ava, one of the first HOHs of the season, to say something along the lines of,
these are the people that I trust the most in this house. So their opinion, I truly value.
Oh God. Just hearing Ava's voice, I'm like,
Wait, valuing allies' opinions? What?
You know what was crazy about that week? I remember I was playing.
No, you missed the point. None of you valued your ally. Okay.
Chess with Zach, and Ava had came up. She had already told me to my face that I was safe. She came up again, looked at both me and Zach in the eye. She's like, "You guys are good." Like, and she was fully confident about that.
She's a limited
So I remember
figure.
seeing Zach's face for the first time, and I remember being up there playing chess and stuff, and saw only Will and only Mickey going in that HOH. And when I saw the nominations, because remember, she was very adamant. She said, "I don't need one-on-ones. I'm only going to pull you if I need you." And I think to me, her saying that,
I think that is the problem. Morgan isn't listening. She's not listening to what Taryn's bringing to the table.
Allies to talk about who I want in the block.
Because half the time, even when she replies, he's like, "Oh," and he'll, tell her again. And then she's like, "Oh, yeah, no, I thought, no."
If you're on the block, well, blame them or whatever. Because when I saw Zach, that's when I was like, okay. So Ava lies to people's faces because I literally saw her look Zach in the eye and say, "I am not going to put you up. Like, you're safe." But then I also was like, okay, let me slow down because 2 other people.
Who cares? Zach sucked.
Only spoke to her. And it's very likely that they had a hand in this.
And Zach talks mad shit about you, lady.
And Mickey had kind of fanned those flames and then realized, oh, it went too far, and tried to be like, well, maybe she shouldn't go on the block.
Yeah, because my only thing is like, I just didn't like how she lied to his face. Because I'm like, if you're willing to lie to his face, you're willing to lie to
Morgan. It's big brother. I mean,
What the hell? Oh my God.
what happened to it? As long as they're not doing it to me.
mine. And that's why when I talked to her in the HOH room, because she was like, "Morgan, I'm really sorry. Like, I saw that you were upset." And I was like, "Ava, it's your HOH. Like,
you were the one, Morgan. Please, Taryn, tell her how Morgan's way of telling people that she would put them on her block when she hadn't even won an HOH was a horrible way to play the game. And that kind of honesty, nobody appreciates. And all it does is make yourself a target in a game like this. Because if you're willing to risk my life, okay, now I know that if I win HOH, I can risk your life as well. Why can't we just tell her the truth, please? What'll happen? What's the worst that can happen if we just tell her the truth?
You're going to do what you have to do at the end of the day. But what I didn't like was that you lied. I was like, I saw you look.
It's like she doesn't even know what happened in the game.
At him and say that. So that's where my discourse comes
And at the
from.
time she thought she had made her mind up, and it was right after that she talked to Mickey, which is why
it changed. And so like, was I upset about the noms? Like, yes, but I also was just like, this is a game. And like I said from the very beginning, I told people like, you're going to do what you want to do and I'm going to adapt. I essentially told people how I was playing this game. Like, you guys are going to do what you want to do. I'm going to adapt.
You don't do much.
But that also means like, I'm going to see what you guys are doing and I'm going to try to like, make y'all do what I kind of want to do.
Guys, I can't do anymore. I can't. I'm calling it. I'm calling it on this one. This is too delusional. We'll see if we can do the rest. Okay. I am interested to hear him talk about the last couple weeks, the last month or so with her and Vince. But I'm worried that it's going to be a big nothing burger. But that was so bad. And that's no shade. All the love to Taryn, God bless. You did what you could, I guess. But like, what's the point of any of this if we're just going to keep being delulu and lying? Like, what? Like, get to Zingbot. So I'm going to try it again. Give me like a day to flush. Gotta flush that Morgan right out of my spirit. Okay. Because you're so delulu, Morgan. And I want to love you. I do. I want to love Morgan so much. There are things I like about Morgan. But this is just her willful delulu-ness is not one of them. Her, that was like, oh my God. So I'm going to, so what is it? Wednesday, maybe Friday, we'll revisit this. Okay. Friday. You guys, we are 3.5 hours in to that thing. I don't thank you guys for being here for me because it was like, oh my God. Oh my gosh. Shout out to all my super chatters, you guys. I'm going to come back a little bit later. We'll do a late night so we can get back to Brad Pitt, Dr. John, and Lauren Matthias, more Delulu people. But at this point, I almost I need them to cleanse this away from me because I'm at that point in Big Brother where I don't care. These people are just going to stay Delulu, and God bless and let them and have the best life ever. Goodbye. but we will try on Friday to get through a little more of this. Oh my God. But shout out to RHAP, you guys. I put the link in the description. So go show them all the love. I'm sure everyone's already subbed up to them and everything. And appreciate them allowing me to commentate on their link. Not that I asked, but I mean, fair use and stuff. Oh God. Okay. We thugged it out. Yes, we did, DGF. Smash that like on your way out. Leave a comment after the video posts. And follow me on social media at joleenlunzer everywhere. Casey, thank you so much. Sweet Casey says, I put this on when it dropped last night. I fell asleep and woke up to Morgan's voice. I think that'll be the only time I can relate to Vinny the Rat. Yeah. Oh God, that was rough. I had higher hopes. I thought maybe, but then I did know that we got to, remember, we were all like, it's been too long. She's being too weird about this deep dive. Just forget about it, Taryn. Throw it away. Throw it in the trash. Here we are. Here we are. All right. You guys are beautiful pumpkin spice babies, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, later tonight, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Bye.
If you like what you see.